because we're in Schwa. The scene is transitioned.
Schwa.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Fail Portrayal. Kept you waiting, huh?
Yeah, we had a little bit of.
Yeah. It's funny actually. So I can tell this story in full. I haven't mentioned the exact details of kind of how it went down at the time off mic because it wasn't relevant. But so last week there was no Fail Portrayal because my power was out for 8 hours.
It happens sometimes.
Yeah, you know, occasionally you get a substation gets fucked over, which is what it was. So we were out for quite a while, which obviously made, you know, Fail Portrayal impossible unless I wanted to do it at, you know, 1:30 in the morning my time. But the hilarious thing I hadn't actually mentioned yet was that I was literally working on the FP list. Like, I was in my notepad document assembling the list of cards for tonight's FP, which, in case you can't tell from the thumb, will be Tachyon Photon. It's Galaxy 2.
It won the poll by a country mile.
Yes, people wanted the follow-up.
Everything else had one vote. I think probably the people who put in their votes, who put in the options, and everything. And Tachyon had 5.
Yeah. People were wanted the follow-up, which I kind of felt they would, but sometimes the patrons surprise me. They do weird things. But no, it won. So yeah, I was literally assembling the list, and my power goes out, and it stayed out for 8 hours. So
fun.
God wanted to make sure that we didn't do the FP early. And I can say I was planning on doing it early that week because the previous week we had exhausted Centurion, and just for the sake of scheduling, it was funny because I've said before, I don't always like to plan FP with just 2 people. But it just so happened that Fail Portrayal ended up just being me and Loth, so I was like, okay, well, nobody else showed up but me and Loth, so...
Yeah, I was unavailable.
I know I was busy, so I just can't remember why.
In reality, Centurion was just kind of like... when you break it down, Centurion is the King Calamity deck. Like,
I think...
It has cool applications. It's neat.
Having been playing the deck a lot in Master Duel, I think it's actually a very unique and interesting mechanic. It is a deck that is still severely held back by the classic Konami game design. Number one, they've announced like 2 more support cards. There's still no way other than the monster's inherent effect to get your monsters that are continuous traps out of the back row, which sucks because you have about 9 different cards that can make any of your monsters, including your synchros, go into your back row. But if you put your own synchro monsters into your back row, they literally become dead cards unless you, like, sack them off with something else. And it's just like, why can't you give me a quick play to just, like, special summon any card in my... Like, you can have a card to place it. Give me a reverse of that. Are you scared I'll special summon my synchros back? That's my whole fucking deck, guys. The other thing is that I talked about this with Loth a lot, but, like, fundamentally the deck is like the weirdest combo of an OTK swinger and a control deck ever. It is reactive. It wants your opponent to have cards, presumably because its primary gimmick is synchro summoning on your opponent's turn. But it means that the case where, like, if your opponent just doesn't play ball and doesn't engage with you, you don't have anything to do, which sucks because your only play is, like, a pretty tight advantage loop of just, like, setting monsters in your back row, summoning them, synchroing them, summoning them, putting them back in your back row, etc., and swinging for game with big guys. Like, that's the only thing you do. So it's very, very formulaic and weird. I like it, but yeah, it's a weird one. But like I said, nobody else was there, and I think I even mentioned on the stream. Actually, you said you were doing something at the time, but
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was like it was 2 weeks ago now. But yeah, you were away. Dallas didn't show up, even though he's usually been pretty good about showing up to Fail Portrayal over the past couple months. So it was just one of those things where I'm like, nobody's here right now. I don't know what we're going to do next week. I'll just pencil in the Patreon early, and hopefully more people show up to Galaxy, and we can talk about what we want to do next. I floated with chat if we want to keep just poking at random archetypes people like. There are a few things in the universe of, like, structure deck archetypes we've never talked about that people may know. Obviously, some of those we have, like there was an Ice Barrier structure deck, but that might be a way to space out some more time. We can also get ready to work on some cubes and stuff, do some draft stuff, and obviously there is the dungeon duel monsters, like the roguelike thing we can try setting up. Reminds me, I still need to download the client. But yeah, it's just like, it was just one of those cases where I was like, I scheduled the Patreon episode like a week early because, as we established, Photon won the poll hands down. We all knew it was Photon. There was no quibbling. And so I was like, I'll do this for sure.
It was never in the cards for anything else to win, really.
No. But there are a lot of fun stuff to talk about. And yes, Chad, I am vamping a little bit. Loth is out, and so I want to see if we can kill enough time for him to scooch in. Let me see if I can get this up. Because there's been some legacy support we can talk about, and a few other weird, funny things have cropped up. One thing I want to say is this was going to be like, at the time, was going to be like a New Cards PogChamp. Now it's, a couple of weeks old, but now we have practical results as well. So hold on a check while I double-check my window capture. And set it to this one? Yes, you're there. Okay. Oop, shit. From the wrong thing. Hold on. Trying to move chat box over to the other side. Because we have a TCG exclusive archetype.
Oh.
This was just released in Infinite Forbidden, which officially came out like last week. There was some pre-release stuff. And chat, this may surprise you. I have knowledge from the future. This deck is good. It has been, Mimighoul, as it is called, has been placing in top 16s and top 8s in several WCQs, I believe.
Huh.
So let me see if I can actually, I retweeted it. Let me see if I can grab the list that I saw.
I never actually properly read them stuff, but I think looking.
Yeah, I haven't like line read them and thought about them critically. I looked at them and went, man, this looks neat. Spoilers, this is a flip deck.
Oh no.
Okay. But it is, like I said, good. And let me, hold on, I will transition back. Now, some of you are going to have a possibly visceral reaction when I flip my window capture back to show you the image of the list. But it, be how it be. So where is... Really? You're gonna dop me like this? It's right there. Paint? OBS, why are you like this? Where's paint gone?
It wants to be a little funny. It wants to be a funny little guy.
It's literally right here. You were looking at it 5 minutes ago.
Being a little trickster.
Let's see if it updated. There it is. Don't know why it was so weird about that. Okay, but yeah, so this is the list. This was top 8. It is 42 cards.
Okay, I'm seeing Fenrir. I'm seeing
Yes.
Nib. I'm guessing these are just Mimighoul cards. I don't recognize most of them.
There's only
I see a shifter.
Yeah.
There's only 8 of them.
No, they're like in
9,
simple
12.
traps. So there's some Mimighouls.
Oh, 15. Okay, 15 of the cards. Okay.
Yeah, it's most of the cards.
Look, like when
And
you're
if you're curious
counting-
specifically, you're like, oh, they're main decking Shifter and Nib. Yeah, they need to defeat Snake Eye. That's how they got
and
to top 8.
When you count in non-engine, like majority of the deck are non-engine enablers as opposed to like.
And like I said, I haven't actually looked at the deck itself.
Yeah, there's only 5 cash
but
cards.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what the Kashira package is doing in here, but I assume it's just giving you some extra teeth. And they're going 3 deep on Fenrir, I assume, because that's the monster effect one, which is also banishing face down is good to stop.
Yeah,
it's also actually another thing I should mention before I switch back is that a lot of people were concerned with Infinite Forbidden. We were headed for like a second iteration of another Tier 0 format. That appears to not be technically correct because Fiendsmith Snake Eye is not actually hitting like the over 65 or whatever percentage. It's actually hovering around the 50s. So there is actually a little variety.
It's still it's in deck, but every once in a while it gets 2-0'd by Ancient Ghoul, by Ancient Gear.
Yeah, that was a very funny thing that happened. And in general, it seems like a lot of people have cottoned on to like what stops it, and main decking Shifter is one of those. Especially I should say with the Fiendsmith stuff, Shifter doesn't help you; you die. So it's an interesting case where like it is very clearly the best deck. But it's not the best deck by such leaps and bounds that, like, other people can't play something. Gimmick Puppet obviously has a FTK that works.
it's not quite like the tier limit tier 0 where there was just no way around fucking Ishizu tier.
Yeah, there was no better deck. You had to be playing Ishizu tier or bust.
I feel really
Ishizu
weird
tier or
about
bust, or like a super turbo hard counter to exactly what Ishizu tier does, which is just anti-meta. Like I wouldn't even consider that a deck. It's just how anti-meta is in these kinds of formats.
Yeah.
I know this is weird to say, but I didn't even know the articles were like officially out, because usually when an article out, it's usually like 2-3 months before it's actually even in print.
Remember, Axe, it's a TCG Premier archetype, so.
I was like, it came out this set.
Yeah, it came out this set and was previewed, and you can see on screen this article is from July 12th, so it's like the article's like half a month old. It's been 2.5 weeks since it was printed, so it is one of those cases where, and I think this full article only came out when they actually showed the cards ahead of time. Also, this is another world TCG world premiere, so there's probably more of these cards coming.
Oh yeah, and I mean, if it's already doing fairly decent numbers,
I mean, it's funny because like Yu-Gi-Oh fans are like, they're the most cynical people I know, but also the most hopeless copium. Because like we all know, everybody, you remember Ashen. I told you, I thought
we
that
all
deck.
Remember Ashen.
I mean, I could channel MBT channeling Donald Trump right now. I don't want to, but it's true, right? We all remember Ashen, and I was one of the people who looked at this deck. I built some test decks in EDO Pro, and I was like, this second wave of support better be the second coming of Jesus Christ. Otherwise, this deck is like super mid. Like it does something cool, but it's not gonna beat real decks.
We all looked at Ashen and said, "Man, this looks sick. Too bad it's probably gonna suck."
Yes,
it's like,
go ahead,
it's cool. It's cool, but it's like it's fair. I mean, it's not
I
enough.
don't even know if it's necessarily that it's fair. It's just that Konami designed it to do a particular thing, and then it's like, well, nice try, but this doesn't actually work against other decks that are already good. This is a problem a lot of things in both deck build packs and TCG premieres have, where it's like, okay, this deck is quirky and unique and fun, and it looks neat, but you already printed cards in the last like 6 months that are like way better than this. So
yeah, like if you printed this deck like maybe 5 years ago, it'd be amazing.
Gathering Ranger, I need to watch that video in full, but I know MBT like talked with a guy who used to work in Yu-Gi-Oh's game design about cards, and like talking about Rudic Fountain, and the designer was like, oh, so this is like a more fair judgment, and MBT had to be like, actually we've unbanned Judgment, Spellbook of Judgment. It's legal now, because in today's meta, adding 6 cards doesn't actually do anything in your end phase. I
mean, adding 6 cards is cool, but you're still gonna die before it gets back to your turn.
Yeah. And also, they're all Spellbook cards, so unless you already have Spellbook of Fate set, you can't do anything. You're fucked. It's not going to matter. Like, you have to have already had the sauce. Like, it's real cool. It's just, it doesn't do anything. The reason why Fountain works is because it also lets you play your quick play spells from hand on your opponent's turn, which is something that, if Spellbook had that effect, Judgment would probably be pretty fucking busted. If you could search, like at minimum 2 of any given spell cards, and probably more in today's economy, and then activate them without setting them on your opponent's turn, that card would probably have to go back to the list, which is probably why they won't do that. But yeah,
crazy.
No, so like it's one of the like Ashen was like everybody got super high on Copium because they were like, I mean, not everybody, but a lot of vocal people were like, no, this deck will definitely be good. They're trying to make it work. It's got like super poly targets, and it pops field spells. Decks need field spells, right? And at the time, I think they kind of did, but I actually don't think that Snake Eyes needs their field spell that badly. I guess maybe there's an argument for Nightmare Throne is pretty important to Yubel/Fiendlink, but also I'm pretty sure that, like, if you start destroying cards in the Yubel deck, you're going to have a bad time. Actually, yeah, no, I think I remember what it was. It was... People thought it would work because they thought it would be good against Fire King Snake Eye, It turns out that Fire King Snake Eye is actually the meme build of Snake Eye. It's not actually the best version of the deck. It's the more fun one. It's the funnier one. I'm deathly afraid that people are gonna play Fiendsmith Snake Eye for like a month, and then they're gonna realize, wait a minute, this doesn't do anything. Let's just go back to playing pure Snake Eye. So yeah, it's definitely one of those cases. But clearly Mimighoul is not that. Like, Mimighoul, everybody I know who saw it was like, oh, I hope this is good. I want this to be good. I'm not saying it's going to be good, but I hope it's good. So this is Mimighoul. They are a wide variety of monsters. Several of them are flips, which are all about being mimics.
Being funny little dudes.
Yeah, so our first one in the here list is Mimighoul Master. It is a Earth 4 insect. Or not insect, zombie. I'm joking about Earth. Though, Matt, what is Maxi's actual level? Is it 2? It's 2, right? Because it was searchable.
Maxi it's the level 2 roach insect.
Yes.
Earth insect.
That's right, because I was like, wait, isn't Maxi a 2 because it's searchable under Sprite? Other things that are like Maxi's unimaginable damage. That said, they have actually... They are printing a second Mulcharmy, which is literally Maxi 2. I can only imagine that Maxi's days are limited. Because the first one they printed, which is now legal in the TCG, is Summon from Hand, I believe.
People did say that when the first one came out, and it didn't, but eventually.
Well, the second one is draw a card every time your opponent summons from extra deck or deck. So... that is very much more like what Maxi does. So I don't... especially since you also have the other one, even though you can only activate... I think it's a total of 2 of them per turn, because both of them have the effect where you can only activate one more Mulcharmy effect this turn. It's still a case where, like... I assume that if they keep printing monsters that are Mulcharmies, they're going to have to ban Maxi, because otherwise nobody's going to want to play those Mulcharmies because they're just... boneless Maxi, literally.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, we all think that day cannot come soon enough. And we all know that in Master Duel, they're just going to print it at 1, and so you're going to have to enjoy being fucking top deck blown out by a 1 of Maxi every game.
Yippee!
Well, we still have 2 more slots in every deck. Anyway, Mimighoul Master. He's a zombie. He's Earth. He's got 1,800 attack and 1,200 defense. He can't be destroyed by battle or card effects while your opponent controls any face-down monsters, or you control a Mimighoul monster other than Mimighoul Master. So you got some multi-spectrum stuff here. You can use... you can only use each of the following effects once per turn. If this card is normal or special, add a Mimighoul monster from your deck to your hand except Master. Pretty normal effect for a starter. During your opponent's main phase, change one face-down monster on the field to face-up attack or defense position. So just, he flip-ems as a quick effect on your opponent's turn, and when summoned, he searches. And now we have a couple of our flippy boys. We've got the Mimighoul Dragon. He is a dragon. He is Earth. He's a level 1, which is 500 attack, 2,000 defense. Flip! If it is the main phase, apply these effects in sequence. Destroy all face-up monsters you control except Mimighoul monsters. Give control of this card to your opponent. During your main phase, you can special summon this card from your hand to your opponent's field and face down in defense position, if this card's normal or special. Add a Mimighoul spell trap from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. So, first of all, you're already seeing what the funny ha-ha of this deck is, which is, you know how flip decks did have this problem where you can't get interactions because your opponent can just play links you can't put in face-down defense position? What if you forcibly give your opponent face-down monsters?
What if your opponent was the one having the practical joke played on them?
Yeah.
You put the Mimic on their field.
Yes. And it's face down, so they can't link it without flipping it face up, which of course means that you need to proc their flip effect. You either need to give the Mimighoul back to your opponent, thus giving them free material, or you need to blow up your own monsters.
And then it bites you.
Yeah. And of course, if you get Master on the field, you can just, if your opponent tries to just flip this card face up before they, do anything else, you just go, no, the flip effect is not once per turn. It's just whenever he's flipped face up, I believe. So, you got some potential here. I also like some of the other, possibilities for these effects, because it can be a little mean. It completely stymies all those cards Oh, shit, my YouTube's buffering again. You may see some buffering on stream chat. We're not dropping a lot of frames, but it's a little red right now. Hopefully you can hear me okay to hear me read the text. But yeah, for example, all the Kashtira engine that you run in this deck, in the mirror, if you go first, your opponent can't Kashtira if they already control a face-down monster. It's pretty good stuff here. So next we have Cerberus, a level 1 Earth Beast, 400 attack, 1800 defense. Flip, if it's the main phase, apply these effects in sequence. Banish the top 3 cards of your deck and special summon one of your banished monsters to your opponent's field in defense position. Or give control of this card to your opponent. Again, this is very funny to give to your opponent. You make them banish the top 3 cards of their deck and then are forced to give them one of your banished monsters. During your main phase, you can special summon this from your hand to your opponent's field face down defense. You can only use each effect of Cerberus once per turn. Your opponent cannot target face-up spells you control with card effects. So that one you have to be careful if your opponent keeps control of this. OBS is green again, so the buffering should smooth out chat. YouTube is still giving me a yellow light, but we should be catching up. Oof. Well, we're still stalling out a little, but Lot just said that he's got some late buses, so maybe a little bit before he gets here. But yeah. So Cerberus is very funny. I think I saw this played only at like 1 or 2 in a couple of deck lists. I think it makes sense though, because if your opponent just flips it and decides to suck it up, they get protection. Gotta be careful about that. But this little goobly guy is our last monster, Mimigal Archfiend. He's an Earth Fiend. 0 attack, 1900 defense. YouTube, can you...
I guess the entire idea is just basically give bad loot drops to your opponent by making them basically take some of their shit.
It's they're mimics in chests. So you give your opponent a treasure chest, they open it up, it's a mimic. It's always a mimic.
Look, you give them a gift, and then the gift goes it bites you.
Flip, if it's the main phase, apply these effects in sequence. Your opponent draws a card, send a card from your hand to the graveyard, give control of this card to your opponent. I feel like so far Archfiend is the meanest one.
It's very funny that they just went, nah, it's an Archfiend.
Yeah.
Who cares?
I liked it being like you can flip it over again, or the thing of there's always at least the king who always can trigger them immediately during main phase, like during the opponent's main phase.
Because he's a quick effect on your opponent's turn, so you can always be like, well, if you're not gonna flip my monster face up, I'll flip it up. Your opponent still gets to choose the effect, so they are always in control of giving it to you. But I suspect that they will probably want to rather give it to you than keep it on their field, especially if you can set up stuff like
all 3 of these apply, but yeah.
Oh, right. It says apply these effects in sequence.
Yeah, it's like...
Okay, yeah, so it flows. God, sorry. The formatting of cards in the TCG is really annoying sometimes. Okay, so you do... I don't know why they're written that way then. Why are these bulleted if they're
I draw
sequence?
a card, you then send a card from your hand, and you give it to me.
Yeah, so I think Archfiend is the meanest. And Dragon is blow up, so... I guess actually that means that I don't know why people are running less copies of Cerberus. Is it because the banish effect is like...
Well, because technically you could do none. You could hit nothing.
I would assume that the banish effect is probably the least played, just because it's just finicky enough to where you could run into a deck where your opponent actually likes the cards being banished, and then you're like,
yeah, I guess you probably put the extra copies in the sideboard, because if your opponent is running a deck where they're like very monster heavy and they don't want to be banished, then you'd be like, oh, okay, Cerberus is the right choice. But like something like Dragon, which blows up your whole opponent's board when it flipped, or Archfiend, which is, makes your opponent basically like, makes your opponent go like -2 technically and makes you go +2, because you get your monster back as materials and you get to draw a card and they have to send a card from their graveyard. Like, that's just good. And you do have some spells. We've got Dungeon, the field spell. Thank God they printed this immediately. Mimigal monsters you control that were not normal or special summon this turn gain attack equal to their original defense. So all of your monsters with their low levels and their big booties become attackers, basically on the follow-up turns.
I wake up.
Yeah. Any player who controls a face-down monster cannot normal summon monsters, nor declare an attack with monsters that were special summoned this turn. During your main phase, you can add a Mimighoul from your deck to your hand or graveyard to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. This is great.
Aren't there some like actual like OTK decks that don't have spell trap removal like as part of the combo?
Oh, there are loads of decks that don't have spot removal. Like that's my this is my number one problem.
That's a good way to give it an extra turn, honestly.
Well, yeah, this, first of all, Mimighoul Dungeon, we spoke about floodgates earlier. This is already inherently a floodgate. Like, if you can set it up so that somebody controls a face-down monster, like if you're running shit like Book of Eclipse, Daruma Karma Cannon, anything that would just already put your opponent's monsters face down.
You can still set.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't, then you control a face-down monster. The loop never ends, right? You have to keep flipping. But you can't, normal summon, which means that you can't put face-up guys, to get your normal summon effects. It's, a pain in the ass. Because remember, flip summoning is not normal summoning. So if you have to set your starter that can only be normaled, you lose that starter. You may as well not play. So, it's got, stalling effects. It has effects to make your guys big and beefy. And, in general, I think spot removal is, one of the things that decks are very troublesome against. This is my personal number one thing in Master Duel that gets me is just I've played decks that don't have spot removal, so it's just okay, cool, my opponent's put a really annoying field spell I have to get rid of. Even in solo mode, the solo mode field spells they pick.
And all they did was they normal summoned one guy that burst a monster, and then they set 3 things on your side of the field face down.
Yeah, no. So it's you're gonna be in trouble because again, you would have to flip them up, or, figure out some way to get rid of them. And that's another thing that yeah, you can tribute summon or tribute set, I should say. There are plenty of decks that don't have high level monsters for that. Honestly, I think the kinds of decks that are gonna be good against Mimighoul are gonna be other Go Second OTK decks because they're gonna be doing shit you've given me 2 Mimighouls face down. I'll tribute set them. I'll use my normal summon to tribute set Blue Eyes or Gep or something, and then just go back to, getting ready to play my combo. Because I'll just, I'll figure out a way to flip him up or set up for next turn so you don't get me. But this is a great field spell. It searches, it protects, it makes your guys big. We have a normal spell, Mimighoul Maker. Reveal 2 flip monsters, different name for your deck. Your opponent randomly picks 1 to special summon to their field face down, and you add the other to your hand. Then you can special summon a Mimighoul monster from your hand. If your opponent special summons a monster, except during the damage state, banish the card from your graveyard, target a face down monster your opponent controls, flip it to face up attack or defense position. You can only use 1 effect per turn, only once that turn. But still, once again, great spell. This is just interrupted Mimighoul Slumber. It doesn't blow up the board, but it might as well, because you're going to give your opponent a 50-50 chance of setting Dragon, probably.
Yeah, I don't think there's any universe where you're not always picking Dragon. Because Dragon
one is Dragon, the other is probably Archfiend.
Yeah.
And it goes to your hand, and then you can special summon a Mimighoul, so, you can obviously special summon your own guys, but if you've got, Master in hand, you can just special summon him out, and then you can just give them the other face-down monster you searched anyway. This is nasty. This is a nasty.
If one of them is always at least King, because technically
no, because it's random. You would never pick King with Maker.
Fair. It always be the other one because you always want. I guess you just always search King. You'd always just try to search King otherwise.
Yeah. I think the ideal is you probably play the field spell. If you don't have Mimighoul Master, you search him with the field spell. Master on summon searches another monster if you don't have them in your hand already, or you probably search anyway. Just keep getting more copies.
I open the list myself, but I find the list.
I retweeted it not too long ago, so if you can find me on Twitter, it's probably
was
in
it
my
posted?
profile. I mean, I retweeted it today, so I think the tournament was over this weekend. You do got a trap card, Mimighoul Room, which is a normal trap, which funnily enough is played. I saw it in that deck list. I see it's in a couple deck lists. Special summon a Mimigal monster from your hand or deck to your field, or in face-down defense position to your opponent's field. Then change one monster on the field to face-down defense position. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Target any number of Mimigal cards you control. Put them back in your hand. You only use one effect per turn and only one that turn. Again.
Yeah, I mean, that secondary step is really good because it can also just interrupt your opponent's combos aside from Mimigal nonsense. Like you can just flip an opponent's monster face down and their combo's done. You kill their combo.
Yeah, no. This is basically like Book of Moon, but better.
I think it's
Book of Moon with 7 steps.
Yeah.
I think I'm being a bit scatterbrained, but what's the best thing to do for wanting to return back to you?
Oh, just any of them. Then you can use them again. Axis Train to understand the banish from graveyard effect.
It's like, I should be like after the resummoning, but what usually is the best thing to do? I guess.
I mean, it's on your.
Oh, right, yeah, because
you can only activate one effect per turn. You wait until it's your turn again. You flip the trap on your opponent's turn. Presumably, you interrupt their plays. Play passes back to you, and you go, cool, banish Mimigal Room, putting all my Mimigals back in my hand so you can normal or special master again. You can give your opponent all the face downs again and just
right. I was thinking of it right because if you do it right, after your opponent's turn, you get them all on your side of the field
basically
anyway.
if it rolls back around to your turn, you just banish Mimigal Room and just reset your entire combo. I understand why this deck is making waves with just 1, 2, 3,
you also
4 monsters.
If you do this right, you technically could clutter your opponent's board of at least 3 to 4 monsters that they don't want.
Oh yeah, no, they're all face down. Yeah, it's like the Ojama Duo Trio type shit, but because they're not generic tokens that are face up, you literally can't use face down monsters as link material. It's pretty good.
What specific link monsters do you think they'll put in the sideboard to basically use these as material?
I mean, the problem there is that they're all various types. They're all Earth, right?
Yeah, and if you flip them face up, they go back to your opponent anyway, so you cannot use them as link material. Your opponent can. If you're talking about what you put in your deck to make this good, there's a lovely lady called Subterror Behemoth Fiendess.
Oh yeah.
I genuinely don't know why people aren't playing. I guess the Kashira package is too good generic, but Fiendess, her normal Fiendess is like a hand trap for flip decks. She's an effect negate if your opponent tries to fuck with your face downs. Guru would probably make a pretty good engine in this too, just as a guy. There's room here for some extra spice.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's a case of the Kashtira engine is just the most generically good nonsense to splash in here.
Yeah.
Cause
you're running 1 unicorn, 3 Fenrir. The idea is that Fenrir lets you search unicorn or another Fenrir. Unicorn searches birth, so you can normal summon them. And I think the idea is just that you start cooking with the other stuff. The extra deck, I didn't show it very much on screen, but the extra deck is just a lot of generic stuff. They're running some ones. They've got Ensemble Blue and Assembled Nightingale. They've also got Embodiment of Crime, not Embodiment of Punishment. Don't know why. But they're running generic Xyz 1 stuff. They've got Downer, Typhon, Double Zeus. And then the links are just a who's who of the generic get fucked nerd links. They're running Anima, IP. They're running Silo Hat Rabbit because I think that lets you set guys face down.
Honestly, just the generic assholes.
They've got Little Knight. I don't know why they're running Dark the Dark Charmer.
Actually, what?
Is it so they can link off their Xyzes and links?
Probably, because I'm trying. I don't think the Mimigals are.
No, they're all Earth. Every card in this main deck is Earth, with the exception of Unicorn as Wind, and then Nib is Light, obviously, and D-Shifter is Dark. I'm assuming it's Dark is that way because Dark is one of the more commonly played attributes, so it lets you steal, and a lot of your links are Dark because they're also running Phoenix, Unicorn, Access Code, and Griffin.
Makes the most sense there to just to have something like that.
And like honestly, like I said, you could probably I'd have to double check what Fiendus's requirements are, but like you could probably swap these or cut some of these. Like you could switch Dark for Ausa if you wanted more recycle on your potential. You could probably run Subterror, like the Subterror link here.
Behemoth Fiendus needs 2 flip monsters.
Yeah. So no, that's super easy to set up, and then she could give you some advantage there. And also, there's another thing about this deck, talking about like lean and mean. These people are making like top 8s and shit with a 42 card deck. By the way, they're running 2-ofs a lot as well. I think another reason why we've got a slammed full extra though is we are running 2 Prospe, so we just need guys to be able to go away. But yeah, this is a very flexible engine that the TCG has printed. I'm shocked, and that makes me really interested to see. We'll probably get another like what did I say? There was there's 7 of these? Yeah. There's 2 spells, 1 trap, 4 monsters. So we'll probably get another trap, maybe another spell card, and then maybe a couple more flip monsters. But this is already a really robust engine for a flip deck that's relevant and is apparently making waves. And this is making waves in a world where the TCG actually did something they don't do a lot. They pre-announced when the next ban list timeframe will be. They specified that it would be in the month after WCQ season, so upcoming in August, because they wanted to see how Infinite Forbidden affected the meta and how that worked out without actually forcing people to eat a ban list and eat a new set before big tournaments.
Man, it's crazy what happens when you pre-announce stuff. It's almost like people are invested.
Yeah, no, and I think it was a lot of I know some people were skeptical because they were like, oh well, they're just gonna sell all the Fiendsmith product and then what will they actually change? But no, I think the meta actually shook out a little different than people thought. Tenpai is actually starting to show a significant pie slice because it's a deck you run a lot of board breakers in. MBT just put out a short talking about the format, and I think he had an interesting point where because Fiendsmith is an extra deck engine, that means you need to shave generic extra deck space. So, Snake Eye Fiendsmith end boards are actually, a lot simpler than they used to be. Because, pure Snake Eye, you've got 15 slots in your extra. There are literally no Snake Eye extra deck cards at this time. If you want to run the Whitewoods package, that's a whole different thing. What you can do with some Sinful Spoils and Diabellstar and stuff, but when you add the Fiendsmith package to it, that means you have to shave some numbers. So, this is on top of the fact that they did actually hit a couple of the generic extra deck slammers. And I'm gonna be honest, I would not be surprised if Apo gets clonked next ban list. That would be a fairly generic hit that would really pare down Snake Eyes for a while. Just you can't summon 5 Snake Eye monsters and turn them into Apo anymore. Especially because eventually the Diabellstar lore soup is gonna get a generic negate extra deck monster. It's a fusion, but still.
Oh yeah, it's a foregone conclusion on that shit.
They've already previewed it. We know they've got one coming. The Azamina cards. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, no, we know for a fact the next set that the OCG releases is going to come with some contact fusions that go involve White Forest, Sinful Spoils, that kind of stuff. So Diabellstar is going to be able to make a generic extra deck Omni. But that means at least that they'll have to dedicate their own extra deck space to a generic one, which may actually encourage people to play the deck differently. It's always one of those things when they make. I have less problem with archetype Omnis, whether they're monsters or counter traps, than I do with generics, because at the very least that means that you're playing the deck right. They can still be annoying depending on how good they are. Obviously, that was a problem in the past with Yangzing decks, was how easy it was to make Denglong and then search one of 2 Omni negates.
It's not even really an Omni, but cards like Ancient Gear, Howitzer, and the like you can only really make them in the archetype.
Yeah.
But man, annoying as shit when you're just kind of saying that I'm like, I have no answer for this.
Yeah.
I just can't do anything about this card.
Well, and that's how that that's the same with the ancient gear that beat up Snake Eye. The Snake Eye deck didn't do anything to stop Chaos Giant. And I know this from a fact from playing against both Loth and the Ancient Gears solo mode deck. Very often in Master Duel they do a daily mission to play 3 rounds of solo mode. That's very easy to accomplish. If your opponent just gets to resolve a fusion to make Chaos Giant, usually you can't do anything about that because it doesn't activate any effects. It's unaffected by spell traps, and it's just huge. I think it may be like untargetable in your battle phase too. Like Chaos Giant just has a shitload of attack. He does piercing. I think he might get multi-attacks. There's definitely some Ancient Gear fusions that have multi-attacks, and it's just like, well, you did not stop the resolution of my fusion to get to this big asshole. I'm just gonna start punching you now. And
I win the game now, basically.
Yes. And first of all, I said this about Tenpai, where like I know a lot of people were worried. They were like, "Man, this is a really bad game design space. They got this field spell that like their monsters are unaffected during the main phase. What are we gonna do?" The deck didn't start taking off in the TCG, despite being cheap as dirt, until I think you were able to start making room with, like I said, with that space with Snake Eye Fiendsmith.
Yeah.
But also like part of me is like, I know too many people for like 5 years who are like, battle phase is dead, battle phase doesn't matter, and Tenpai like roared onto the scene like, no, we are making the battle phase matter. You better have some shit for the battle phase, bro, or I'm gonna clean your clock.
Solve the battle phase or die.
Yeah, and like, it's at the very least, that can be kind of not fun depending on what kind of interaction you have. But at the very least, if your opponent makes a Trident Dragion who's like 10,000 attack strong and attacks 3 times, the game's over fast, right? You go next. Control decks that set up unoutable boards can be a lot more annoying because you have to like actually be like, shit, do I have enough stuff in hand? Can I do anything about this? Can I outplay this? And you poke a few times, and sometimes you just gotta go, nah, shit, man, I don't got anything for this. It's over. Let me switch my window capture back though. Let's actually photon it up. Go for about
Let's get
45
right into the news.
in. Yeah, so this is gonna be another interesting one because we're gonna go in chronological order as we usually do, and very much like the Galaxy episode, while a little more focused. Photon's in a space where, in terms of strategery, Photon wasn't really a coherent deck for probably 2 or 3 years, I want to say.
There is at least one Photon card that I feel like everybody who played in the mid-2000s is aware of.
Yeah.
And not because of Photons.
And Thrasher, assuming you're talking about Thrasher.
Yep, I am.
Yeah. Thrasher was a pretty early card. I think it was within like the first 2 or 3 years of Galaxy being printed. And you'll start to see that like eventually Konami realized what they wanted to do with Photon. The point of Photon is a supplementary engine to make Galaxy-themed and Galaxy-supporting Xyz. So they kind of like coalesce into mostly 4s and 8s, which is weird because one of the extra deck monsters that is a Photon that I think people forget about is Bouncer, which is a 6.
Oh, yeah.
6. Yeah, he's got
that's
Photon in his name.
card.
He counts. He's not super easy to make in Archetype.
Yeah, because he's a rank 6 in a deck that makes rank 4s and rank 8s.
But it's definitely a case where like you can tell, and if you don't know already, you're gonna see, chat. This was an anime deck that was at first was just like, well, shit. This is the like one of the themes our major rival character uses. We gotta fill some space. Let's just give him cards to do whatever he needs for an episode type shit. And eventually that slowly starts to coalesce into, like I said, the actual like theme of the deck. And I'll probably pull up some spell trap card art later, but like there's a very funny sub theme of the card art, which is just showing like Numbers Hunter Kite like in costume doing shit. I'm actually quite surprised that like he is the rival character who gets all this like super extra chuny shit. Like Most
Yeah, 'cause
Blue Eyes
he's-
cards don't have Kaiba on them doing poses, even though that's
He's-
totally a Kaiba thing to do.
A weird thing about it is that Zale is weird that it's kind of trying to be like a conceptual reboot of Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yes, it was Return to Form. I think I wanted to say a
Yeah,
different
so like
phrase there for a
Kaito's meant to be
second,
the Kaiba, but he's like
but,
not
but
as deranged, but he does have the brother thing.
It's so strange to me that like they went that extra mile to like I said, like obviously he is just the numeral hunter card, but like
Well, that's also the Kaiba Man thing, I think. Actually,
well, yeah, but I know, but like they went above and beyond to also like put him in spell cards like Photon Hand and other shit, and I'm just like, I guess he was the like one of the more popular guys from Zexal because they actually
he was
like
super popular.
they actually went that extra mile because like
he was actually like
chat. You don't
I was
understand.
he's very memorable because he legitimately actually traumatized your protagonist upon the first fight they had. Actually,
well, Kaiba technically did that, but some of that stuff wasn't shown in the anime version.
that's more muddled, but
yeah, it gets a little, but yeah, it's just like so. It's interesting to me that despite the fact that Konami fucking loves Blue Eyes, they're giving Blue Eyes another structure deck. The 4 cards they've shown are already fucking cutting edge tech, and they're gonna get 4 more new cards in that structure deck. But they haven't actually done a lot of like Kaiba specific nostalgia. Like, there's not like a Kaiba Man retrain. There's not like, other than I think Bingo Machine Go, like we don't have a lot of, and I guess you could argue Blue Eyes Jet. We don't have a lot of like actual references to Kaiba himself in the cards.
I don't know why I don't know why they haven't made the CEO of D.
that yes, chairman of D, and it's just
the
Kaiba.
DEO.
Oh God, if they could get away with that. If this was Final
CTO.
Fantasy 14, they would have that localization. I don't know if they can get it, but yeah. So Galaxy is gonna look really weird for like the first like third maybe, like the first dozen or so cards. Though there are, like I said, there's gonna be some you do still recognize right away.
It's just gonna be a bunch, like Omega said, it's gonna be a bunch of bullshit that exists purely for like a single episode of the anime where Kite needed to like to turn a level 4 and a level 2 monster into a Galaxy Eyes. Why? I don't know.
Because he's been collecting numbers, and
got stuff.
Acid Golem was actually originally a card he owned, and that he used that, and it had so many negative effects just to fuck over Shark.
It does. It sucked. So our first one here is going to be Photon Kaiser. Or Photon Caesar.
As someone, it's weird. I remember running this guy weirdly enough, and
I mean, honestly, in terms of like, because this was 2012, Rise of the Duelist, one of the fairly early sets in this. If
Kinda
you're
start
actually
with
trying
cards,
to
double.
find Photon cards that work in a Galaxy Eyes Photon deck, this is one of the few ones. This is a level
yeah.
8 Light Warrior that has 2,000 attack and 2,800 defense. So actually, like,
Requirement.
does the thing. And also, its effect is, when this card is normal or flipped summoned, special summon a Photon Caesar from your hand or deck. So, like, for 2012 technology to instantly make a rank 8, this guy isn't terrible.
you run at least 2 to 3 of him as a thing, and then
Yeah.
you just depend on your spell traps to actually pull them from deck or hand, because
And
there's stuff that
they
just does
they
that
have
for you.
basically retrained this guy. There's a very similar level 8 guy who came out like last year, I think. So like Konami understood, like back in the 2012 day, this guy's actually an okay card. He's a level 8, so you can trade in him, so he's not necessarily a brick. And if you can actually normal summon him, which is not impossible because even if their levels don't line up, the Photon cards have a decent number of just special summon some guys cards.
Also, dumb thing about
Instantly make a rank 8.
the thing about Blue Eyes and Galaxy Photon, you run 3 trade-ins.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, they're any
You
8
just
stack.
do.
Thankfully Konami has actually expanded it so that there are cards that do that in like everything. There is a level 10 and level 9 version of trade-in. I think actually technically it's Sacred Sword of the 7 Stars because they banish, but you know what I mean, chat. There are multiple cards that are like,
work
oh, do you have a
around
level
it.
10 or a level 9 in hand? You can get rid of it to draw 2.
I do
and
think though that I actually think a lot of the actual searchers and like summon cards for Galaxy Photon are better than a lot of Blue Eyes, but that's because Blue Eyes is more of a fusion ritual deck instead of an actual like season deck.
Blue
Like,
Eyes is
Galaxy Photon.
weird because, like, I mean, they have cards that are just stupid good. Jet Dragon is... I hate Jet Dragon so much. It's so fucking overtuned. And these guys What do I get that's my weird, quirky anime reference in Red Eyes? I get Red Eyes Soul, which, like, cool, I can special summon a free level 7. Like, I needed that in this deck. I can already do that 5 different ways. Oh, I can burn my opponent for, like, 2,400 once per duel. Cool. Great.
You never know when you need to summon that 4th Red Eyes in your deck.
I mean, like, I shouldn't bitch too much because the 3rd retrain of Meteor Dragon, Red Eyes Black Meteor Dragon, like, that guy's actually good. Like, he's a 6 or he's a 7, and he, like, sends to graveyard to summon himself. That card was good. Red Eye Soul, though, is not that good. It's just it's a cute reference, but it's not that good. But, like, yes, you are correct in that, like, Blue Eyes is still a deck that to this day can brick very hard, because if you draw, like, all Blue Eyes and Jets and you don't draw, like, an alternative and shit, it's hard to pull off. But that's why they have the whole Eyes of Blue, like, sub-theme to yank those guys out of there. But yeah, I think Lost said it best in the text chat here. This guy looks like a Space Timaeus. Like, this guy is just a Space Knight. He looks a little bit like the design team was still getting some of their design for, like, Mech Lords out with his weird, like, orbs in shoulders thing.
Yeah, he's a little off for a Photon card. He definitely still has that, like, that late 5Ds era design, like, stink on him.
Yeah, this is definitely just, like, this is a card where they just didn't know what they were doing with the art style yet. Like, honestly, compared to cards we are going to see very, very soon, his effect is way more sensible in even a modern Photon or Galaxy Eyes deck than many other cards we are about to see from the 2011-2012 era. But his aesthetics are still a little loose. He's got the blues, but he's got a lot of golds, and he's got kind of, like, just generic background with lightning. You know, it's not quite locked in. Our next one is probably more in the line of the aesthetics that makes sense, but is a card that you would not in any way run in a modern Galaxy or Photon deck. This is Photon Kerberos.
I remember running him for very limited source because they're very limited cards that actually were viable at the time.
I mean, honestly, like, this, when we were actually playing Prague in the Zexal era, we'll talk about this guy's effect in a sec, but, like, as just a generic guy, he works. He doesn't work in your Galaxy deck very well because he's a level 3 monster. Spoilers. He's got 3 heads. Ooh, he's level 3. His actual effect, like, back in the day, worked as a certain generic kind of support. But yeah, design-wise, this looks a little bit more like what we might think of with Galaxy Eyes. It's interesting they went with kind of a dark red, almost maroon color, but its body is made of glowing pale blue space stuff. It's got some yellow headlights everywhere. And there's actually space in the background, so it's like, yeah, no, this tracks. This is a Photon. If nobody has anything else to say about how he looks.
Yeah, there's not much to say. It's a glowing dog with 3 heads.
Well, he is a beast. He's a light beast, level 3.
Oh.
So pretty on point here. I think Photons usually fall into warriors or machines, and occasionally some of them overlap into dragons. But some of them are just anything back in the day. So he's got 1,300 attack and 600 defense, which kind of sucks because it says that Photon Cerberus says during the turn this card's normaled. Neither player can activate trap cards while this card is face up on the field. So it is a anti-trap card like Battle Phase Insulator. And I think Konami put a lot of value on that because the stats are shit. But also, this could just be the thing we talked about where for an episode, Kite needed to turn off trap cards for a sec, so this guy was dreamed up. Like, aesthetically, fits pretty good. Effect-wise, I can kind of see why, but it's definitely... Its stats are too weak and its level is off that it's just like, nah, you wouldn't. You would barely run this at the time it came out in a Photon Galaxy themed deck. You would absolutely not run it today.
I remember running it for its effect as a thing I could...
Well, yeah, oh god, what's that? Mirage Dragon. That was a guy we ran, like, in the Chaos days to turn off back row. Like, we...
Oh.
There were times when we were down bad for trap stoppage because, I mean, Battle
Other
Tricks
friends
danced
have
up and
some.
down our fucking ban list constantly. There were times when we had to worry about floodgates and shit. So no, I can totally see Cerberus is just this guy was a rare, Totally, you would run him in just to have utility.
Judgment.
I have no idea what you said. You definitely had something in your mouth.
Judgment into judgment into judgment.
Oh yeah, that was another thing that constantly got squiggled, but we did actually, at some point have some judgment counterplay, which is very funny. But that's another thing that unless you use judgment on Cerberus to prevent the normal, which is kind of not worth it. And now we're getting a guy who was also, honestly, probably at the time, fairly usable. This guy, I'm pretty sure, sets up a wombo combo with another guy you've seen, even though you don't see this guy anymore. This is Photon Crusher.
Oh, yeah, this guy looks vaguely familiar.
He's got a big bonking stick. And yeah, this guy.
Attack amount needed for the tribute.
Yeah, this guy sticks a lot more closely to the aesthetics. Not sure why he's kind of like a deep green, but the rest of his body is made up of glowing blue star goo. And so yeah, he's pretty in fashion. Crusher is a level 4 light warrior. He has 2,000 attack, 0 defense, and he is a goblin attack force. If he attacks, he's changed to defense position at the end. But he is a level 4, and he has 2,000 attack, so you can sack him for Gep.
Huh.
So, actually, for the time period, this came out in early 2012, not terrible. Actually would have made the cut in the deck. Actually does some stuff. God, sorry, this next guy is just... It's so weird. Alphabetically, our next one, Photon Leo. Guys, what's wrong with this lion?
He's got he's got arms.
Yeah, he's got weird arms. Because it's not just he has hands. No, he's got weird reverse shoulder arms.
Makes me feel like this is supposed to transform into a different.
And this Photon Leo, I don't have anything else to say other than the hands thing. I'm gonna be honest. We got a lot of these. Leo may have one of the most weird anime one-off effects of all time. This is a level 6 light beast. So yes, there are some 6s you can go in a strike bouncer, but it's still weird. It's got 2,100 attack and 1,100 defense. What was that? Sorry?
This guy's a 6?
Yes, this guy is a 6. Because his effect is, when this card is normal summoned, you can have your opponent shuffle their entire hand of the deck and then draw the same number of cards they shuffled.
He's a servant strategy.
Yes, he is on that. That's also, by the way, I want to point out, I think this is a intentional sub-theme with the early Photons and even some of the Galaxies. A lot of them rely on being normal summoned, kind of, I think, as a balancer. But it's also why a lot of them are just not making the cut. You are not going to play... I don't think you'd play Photon Leo when he got printed, honestly.
I don't think you played him if he was printed, an era before he came out. That's still not great.
Yeah. I mean, he's got sub-Monarch stats for a level 6. And if you had hand knowledge, this could be pretty powerful. But, if you're dealing with unknown unknowns, they literally draw the exact same number of cards. So, the only way this card is good is, if you know your opponent, searched Kalut, searched Honest, or some shit. They've got something in their hand that's going to be a problem for you this turn. Otherwise, you're just making them shuffle for no reason. Again, this is very clearly an anime effect to make, our protagonist shuffle his hand back and be like, oh no, my perfect hand. Now I got to shuffle and draw 5 cards. Oh no, the 5 shittiest cards in my deck.
No, my Zubaba Archer, my go guard.
I dispelled my searchers to build my hand, and now I literally just lost it all. Fuck.
Yeah, but it's on normal summon, so your opponent isn't using their searchers because they can't play yet. Like it's a weird one.
Oh, it's a 6. I think that's
fucking
something.
weird ones.
Yeah, you have to.
I mean, it's possible in the Zexal era they would have their shit still in their hands like a turn later, but it's so odd. Speaking of odd, Photon Lizard. He's a lizard.
Yeah, again, like we're really just kind of picking colors, seeing what works. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
There's not.
Well,
there's
I
not
think the darker and the red color scheme is not terrible, but it's still like because the body is that light blue, that cyan blue. You can tell it's supposed to be a photon. Other than that, it's just like I guess.
I think it's really just as they got into Galaxy, they focused on what they wanted to do more. It's for that. It was just like we're just trying different kinds of creatures and see what works.
So, also, by the way, I lied. Despite the fact that this card's name in Japanese is Photon Rizado, this is a dragon.
Uh-huh.
This is a level 3 light dragon. It has 900 defense and 900 attack and 1200 defense. You can tribute this card, add a level 4 or lower Photon monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use Photon Lizard once per turn.
I think they still want to make a light reptile.
This is bad.
Yeah. If you could special summon this guy, it would be cute because he tributes and searches a better photon. And I guess the idea is that you can tribute him and search Thrasher so you can summon Thrasher, but why? You can Rhoda Thrasher, can't you? He's a warrior, I think.
Pretty
Yeah.
positive.
Still
That was definitely a big thing about
Honestly,
him.
it feels like this would be a discarded card to search kind of card, but they didn't want to make that yet.
Oh, I mean, there are some cards in this era that would discard to search, but yeah, I think the main thing is just
Warrior of Atlantis has been around for a decade before this card.
yeah, no,
And honestly, this reminds me.
Yeah, Zumi.
yeah.
This also reminds me of literally the anime effect thing of cards do not have effects until the person holding them says their effect and very loudly and openly.
I mean, basically, that's just anime.
So it's like,
I mean, to be fair, to most Yu-Gi-Oh players, once you actually get into the fucking dual discs and holograms, it's not like real life where you can just be like, "Hey, can I read that card?" The guy's standing like 30 feet away from you. What are you gonna do?
I mean, technically,
font
I think
is
that's
so
a flaw. I think that's a flaw of the system. Honestly, you can't actually check your opponent's cards.
Yeah, but it lends to the effects. You probably have to fuck with a menu. But also, hey, I got another fucking absolute weird one for you. But no, this is a Photon card, and it came out during the Photon era. This is not a case of, Cypher Soldier. Our next card is Photon Saber Tiger. Oh,
Yeah?
it's very tiny. Hold on, let me see if I can get it bigger again.
I remember that one vaguely.
Um,
Oh, the spirit. card.
Photon
Yeah,
Saber Tiger. This is a
weird
card from
defense only
2011 from Photon Shockwave. So this is absolutely intended to be that sort of photon. But
Yeah,
also,
there's like a thing that was only released in the
Drake?
set.
Where's the photon?
yeah, it's technically, I think if you look in the bottom corner, he's jumping out of a nebula or a galaxy or something. But this could be any Yu-Gi-Oh card. If you told me this was Blue Thunder Tiger, I'd be like, yep, Blue Thunder
I was
Tiger.
gonna say this is a thunder monster.
This is Blue Thunder Bomber, is what this is.
Yeah, and the weird thing is that, actually, technically, this card, hypothetically, could be used in Galaxy. This is a level 3 light beast that has 2,000 attack and 300 defense. When this card is normaled or flipped, add a Photon Saber Tiger from your deck to your hand. If you don't control a second or another Photon Saber Tiger, this card loses 800 attack. So, it's slow, but hypothetically, this sets up a combo so that you can special summon Gep. Because if you get 2 of them, you have 2 2K guys. And again, obviously by now, way too fucking slow. But, for 2011, you could set that up. It's got some utility. It's a little weird, but it works. But again, just aesthetically, it's this guy doesn't look anything like any of the other photons. We're never again going to see a guy who looks like this. So it's so weird that this is the one who's on point. Like, this is actually one of, like, a handful of cards we've actually seen who, like, does the thing.
So, I should probably make this clear. Early Photon was not a rank 4 deck. It was entirely about having 2,000 attack monsters to be special.
Yeah, it was a weird GEP support engine. But even then, half those cards are not great GEP support engines.
Nah.
But we are going to come to the boy. He did come out very early. It's Thrasher. You know who he is.
Look, there's not much to say about Thrasher that if people know what this card does, he's a 2K asshole, special summonable.
Yeah. I think
he's just a rank 4.
The funny part I want to say is that this guy was localized as Photon Thrasher because I think they wanted to avoid a possible like confusion because his name in Japanese is Photon Surasha. Photon Slasher. Honestly, like I think if this card was printed today, he'd be called Slasher. I'm gonna assume that because of anime reasons, they didn't want to call him Slasher at 8 a.m. on a Saturday, even though children can understand what slasher movies are.
It wasn't aired that way. I don't think it was actually aired that much.
I'm pretty sure.
Regardless, it's still made for kid television. The time doesn't really matter. It's still for kids' TV.
Yeah. I admit this would be around, 2010, 2011. Hey, guess what? I wasn't watching Saturday morning cartoons on Saturday morning anymore. I was asleep on Saturday mornings. Thank you very much in 2010. Because I would have been, 17 or 18. But, like, I assume that it had to have been a dub choice to go from Thrasher to Slasher because even as demented as the TCG department is itself, I'm pretty sure we could get away with Slasher these days. Like, slasher movies is a pretty common term, even if kids aren't supposed to see slasher movies.
It was a thing said in, like, a SpongeBob episode, like, in 06.
But, yeah, you probably know what this guy does. He is indeed a level 4 Light Warrior. He's got 2100 attack and 0 defense. He can't be normal summoned or set. He must first be special summoned from your hand while you control no monsters, but he can't attack if you control another monster. But that's okay because you don't care because this guy is the end-all, be-all of free rank 4 special summons. This motherfucker gets played to this day.
He's just reliable.
And in fact, I think he made an archetype of cards that you can special summon, while specifically you control no monsters. Obviously, I think there's a lot of, like, Sidras out there. There are cards that are, if your opponent controls a monster and you don't, you free special. But there's just as many cards that are just like, hey, if you don't control any monsters, you can special summon this guy. Kashira, for instance, is built on that archetype. They don't care what your opponent does. So, yeah, Thrasher is a deeply iconic card. And honestly, it could have happened to worse guys. Like, this guy, I think, fits the aesthetic very well. His glow is a little, like, more Baja Blasty than usual, but he's got a big sword. He's got kind of a toyetic body type. The orange and dark blue works. Like, he doesn't look awful. He functions aesthetically, and he's got an effect that you actually want to play. And like I said, I'm pretty sure that him and Thrasher are supposed to go together. You special
Crusher?
You're Crusher, yeah. You special Crusher, or you special Thrasher, you normal Crusher, then you can get. Actually, by the way, Chad, I was wrong. I lied to you. There is exactly one more guy who looks like Saber Tiger. Oh, I've accidentally grabbed my arrow-making shape there. Don't know when that happened. Anyway, Photon Wyvern.
Yeah.
He's a guy. Honestly, we're not going to talk about all the weird rank 8 dragons that, I forgot his name, but the Tachyon guy specifically used to make those, like Schwarzschild Dragon and shit like that. We're going to talk about those because they're kind of scatterbrained, and a lot of them don't have any synergy other than being level 8 big dragons. But, like, technically, I think this looks like it more belongs in that aesthetic, even though I'm pretty sure it's way too early for that to actually be the point, because, again, this is all still, like, 2011 or 2012. But it's not, like, terrible. It just doesn't look like it belongs. Oh, okay, so Konami knows this card's terrible. Sorry. I was just like, when was this guy printed? So he was a tin promo card. You could have gotten this in the Premium Collection tin, and he was printed in Battle Pack 2. This card has not been printed since the year 2013. And you'll understand
that's
why in a
rad.
second, chat. This guy sucks. Photon Wyvern is a level 7 light dragon, so it's not even a level 8. It's got Dark Magician stats, 2500 attack, 2k defense. When this card is normal or flipped, destroy all set cards your opponent controls.
Oh my god, it's Feng Wang.
Yeah. Except he's a 7. I'm pretty sure Feng Wan is a 6.
No, Feng Wang is a 7, I'm pretty sure. I remember that being a whole thing in
It's Feng Wang, but it's searchable.
Let me double check Feng Wan. No, Feng Wan is 6.
Oh. Crazy.
Yeah.
Is it a spirit? I forget.
It is a spirit. That may be what they forgot in Prague at some point. He has to go back to your hand. And can't be special. But yeah, Photon Wyvern on normal or flip destroys all set cards your opponent controls. I think this was already outdated by the Zexal era, having a. I mean, again, if this card was printed in 2005, or God help you, if this card was printed in 2002, 10 years earlier, crazy good card. Blow up all your opponent's set on normal for a card that is only like marginally weaker than some other big bunguses, and it's a dragon. That's pretty good. You can work with that. By the Zexal era, nah. Not worth it, baby. Well, this is why I don't play Dueling Network. I understand the need to practice manually, and sometimes Master Duel is annoying, but also it's like you're gonna fuck up shit. So now let's talk about the extra deck.
Look, Dueling Network is great for players who don't want to waste trillions of dust on crafting random ass bullshit because I opened it in the YGO Pro pack opener.
or learning how to program EDO Pro specifically to form a list.
EDO Pro also just doesn't look that great for video play.
Yeah.
Personally.
I mean, and YGO Omega looks better, but then you have to play YGO Omega.
Yeah.
But there were technically a couple of Photon extra deck monsters during this phase before we even got them as a type. The first one you've actually probably seen, not in a Photon deck, but maybe. It's Photon Papley Operative.
Oh yeah, Pappy.
Yeah.
Again, another card you just kind of forget is a Photon card.
His name or her name actually might be. I'm not sure. But it's in Japanese in the OCG was Photon Butterfly Assassin. So yeah, no, this is a Photon card up and down. It is a rank 4 light. It is a warrior. You probably know its stats, but it's 2118, so like it's in the right ballpark for the other level 4s in here. It's completely generic, and it has a pretty good effect. You have probably seen Pappy before. I think you might I think Pappy still gets some edge play sometimes these days because you never know what you can do with a rank 4. Because once returned, you can detach an Exceed material, target defense position, change it to attack, face up attack position. It loses 600 attack. Very solid effect back in the day. There is one other Photon extra deck monster I will mention, and I may pull up on screen if you want to see it, but it is, despite having Photon in its name, is not a Photon card, even more so than usual. And that is, where is the actual,
The moves feel like I think they were just like combo cards, so thing that I just don't.
Well, I'm pretty sure the Papley, the Butter Spy stuff was a related characters thing. But technically, here, I'll just show the card art. Because Papley looks good, but is clearly from a different aesthetic than normal. We also have Photon Alexandra Queen, which has a Photon in her name. She's literally not generic. She requires 2 Butter Spy monsters, so you cannot run this in a Photon or Galaxy deck. But it kind of got some similar themes. So, there's some weird sub-stuff there going on that they kind of shed. But yeah, so those are technically Photons, and those are both very good cards. Well, for their archetype. Alexandra, you have to play Butter Spies to pull off, but Pappy was generic and thus everywhere. Also kind of a cool design. Interesting with the big shoulders. I like the butterfly wings, though, and the kind of, stag beetle chakrams are kind of neat.
It is just a good design.
Yeah.
Butter Spy? What the hell?
Yeah, Butter Spy. It's a thing.
Huh.
Phantom Butterfly Assassin. It was used by the goth woman in Zexal.
I don't remember that.
Here, I'll show chat. This lady.
Yeah. Vaguely familiar.
She was there. She did stuff. But they also have, as I mentioned earlier, one more. This guy looks a lot more like he's clearly supposed to actually be a Photon, but once again, no fucking way you can actually make him in a Photon deck unless you're playing multiple copies of Photon Leo. It's Photon Strike Bouncer. Again, not sure what the fuck the translation is on this guy. His name in the OCG is Photon Streak Bouncer. So they went Strike Bouncer? I don't know if, again, that was like an anime name thing, like the lip flaps flowed better or something.
Who's to say? Sometimes there's just no explanation.
Yeah, we just did some stuff. But yeah, no, aesthetically, this is definitely a Photon. He's got the glowing blue shit. He's got the weird Mechlord eyeball shoulders. He's in front of like an exploding star. He looks like he belongs. Which, again, very funny because there's no way you can play this guy in a current Photon deck. Because he's a rank 6.
Unless you play Cost Down, which is probably what he did.
I could see that. Yeah, that might work for some stuff. So, Strike Bouncer is a light warrior rank 6. It's got 2700 attack, 2k defense, so, like, pretty good stats for a 6. It's completely generic, any 2 level 6 monsters. Once per turn during either player's turn, when a monster effect is activated on your opponent's side of the field, detach, negate, inflict 1000 damage to your opponent. Solid-ass rank 6 card. Like, honestly, if rank 6 was a real deck these days, you'd probably still play Strike Bouncer as a generic negate.
This is one of the many. This is one of the many like just like kind of soup cards I played in the Ignite deck because it's just a pretty incredible generic rank 6.
Yeah, I'm like, honestly, the only reason I think why he's probably not being played today, because I don't see him, is probably because I don't think there is a like only rank 6 deck out there. There's some decks that can make 6s, but if you're doing that, you're probably making Beatrice for now. Once again, there is a ban list coming up probably next month, and Beatrice
has
is
ever really been a
out.
consistent rank 6 deck?
I don't know. I feel like there were some decks that do make 6s, but yeah, I don't know if there's ever been a deck that like has been what I would call pushed that actually like was all about the 6.
Yeah, there are nothing's coming to mind.
Like I think rank 6 is a space that is a little unexplored right now. Like I'm pretty sure Hazy Flames had some 6s.
Hazy Flame was mostly 6s, but you could barely call that pushed.
Yeah, that was not pushed. That was another deck that like existed and clearly did not go over the top. So like, but yeah, obviously like 8s, because 8s are the level that are attached to cards like Gep and Blue Eyes. 8s have been like super pushed, and they're standalone 8 decks. Somehow Konami has managed to make rank 10s and rank 9s a thing. Like Earth Machine stuff is all about rank 10, and there's a couple of other 10s decks. 9s, you know, through the power of Generator. Like, you can actually make that one work. And also, of course, VFD. 7 is also, like, a pretty robust... It's not as popular anymore, but, like, Dragon Ruler format was built on the back of...
7 still has a
rank
ton
7s.
of stuff.
Yeah, the main thing is just that since all the Dragon Rulers got banned, there hasn't always been as much consistent play. But, because of the way levels work out, Dragonlink can go into 7s as well. Like, they play level 7 Dark Dragons a lot, so there's room there in your extra. So, like, yeah, 7 still has potential. Like, Drakasek is still a pretty alright generic guy to make.
Dinos
Anyway.
are sick, but there also aren't is Dulgar Logia maybe it might be a 6, but they're just again they're
not generic 6s. They are.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure
they're
they're
generic
generic. Yeah, I'm pretty sure all the evols that are rank 6s are dinosaur specific. One of them might be generic, but I think only the Meteora, like the new dino stuff, can make 6s with any regard.
If I'm thinking of like I mean like generic 6s, like as was mentioned earlier, Beatrice is obviously like the big one, especially nowadays.
Yeah. Like, and I don't think that I would call Beatrice or cards that get stacked together to make Beatrice a like rank 6 deck. That's just
It's a
a
rank
byproduct
6
of
engine.
putting a byproduct of putting 2 level 6s on the board is you can make Beatrice, which usually means you can do something stupid. Speaking of which, this next card may actually be one of the ways you're supposed to make Photon Strike Bouncer because, hey, did you know Photon has a fusion monster?
Yep, it's actually surprisingly easy. It entirely exists. It's a very immaterial. It's very.
I mean,
card
it's easy
doesn't
to make.
exist.
The problem is that you need to play a fusion
That's
spell
lizard
in
and
a deck that doesn't need it.
That's lizard and something else. I don't know what the other thing is
I think
using.
it's just 2 lizards.
This is the fakest card I've ever seen. They took Behemoth Dragon and just made it a fake card.
This is Twin Photon Lizard, which guess what means he's still a dragon. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. This card does look kind of like a fake Yu-Gi-Oh card. Like I don't know why he's got like 6 leg wings to make room for his weird ghost photon tail. The glowing eyeball thing in the middle is really disconcerting to me. I don't know why he has it for being a twin. And I don't know why he's red and yellow. It's a weird choice. But yeah, this card is a level 6 Light Dragon Fusion. I think I did actually play it in some decks in Prague because it is technically very easy to summon, but you have to be playing fusion spells. So it's got 2,400 attack, 1,000 defense. Its materials are just exactly 2 photon monsters. You can tribute this card, special summon from your graveyard both of the fusion monsters used for material of this card. Cool, great. It exists. I was probably doing some dumb anime shit.
I mean, if it's a fusion in a photon deck, there's no doubt it was again like a one-off card Kite needed because you can't exceed some in this episode, Kite. What will you do? It's like, of course, I'll use this fusion card that I had in my deck the whole time. Of course, why wouldn't I?
But now we're gonna move on to the that's all the old shit. That's all like the 2011, 2012. I mean, some of these cards are still old, but now that we're gonna get to 2013, 2014-ish, you're gonna see cards that are much more focused, much more targeted. Like they're actually intending to do stuff. The first one of those being, because of alphabets, Kurifotan. So he's a light bulb with eyes.
I thought it as like a bullet.
No, he's got a rounded
No.
base, so he's
It's definitely meant to be like a light bulb or some nonsense.
he is your meds. If you take the Curry Photon pill, the Curry Photon will disappear. But no, I think he's supposed to be a light bulb because he's very light bulb shaped, and he has like a little rounded end. He does, however, from this angle, do look kind of like a bullet bill guy. So like that's not. I'm not gonna say that's a wrong interpretation. Well, I don't think that's the intended interpretation, I should say. But I do not blame anybody if they think he looks like a bullet, especially at Yu-Gi-Oh card size. But yeah, Curry Photon came out in 2013. He was in a tin first, but he has actually been reprinted a couple of times. And this is, interestingly enough, a level 1 Light Fiend. He's got 300 attack and 200 defense, so he's being a Karibo. And this is quick effect. Send this card from your hand to the graveyard to pay 2,000 LP. You don't take any damage this turn. So he's a extra Karibo, but with some extra cost. But if this card's in your graveyard, you can send a Photon monster from your hand to your graveyard, except Curry Photon. Add this card back to your hand. You only use this effect once per turn. So yeah, this is just a guy who keeps you alive. But he has Photon in his name. He is a Photon monster. He is a light. And he actually does the thing. Like, he actually helps you out. Honestly, like, these days, paying 2K to not die to battle damage is probably too much, but, you know, I think this made some decks in the past. Because the only LP that matters is that last one. And our next one Now, effect-wise, you're going to be or look-wise, you're probably going to be very confused about Photon Pirate.
Uh-huh.
Yar, Space Pirate.
Oh.
God, sorry, this guy's so weird. I'm looking at his knees. Why did we put Bionicle Lego fins on his knees?
He reminds me of like Solar Seller.
Yeah, I think that's the point.
Like his bottom half is Solar Seller.
He's got big rings. Sorry, he also has big wings. I don't know what his hips are doing other than solar sailing. But he's got a pirate hat and he's got like a sword. Like, it's not like the worst, but it's
he's
just
got like,
so.
Got like two chakram style stuff, but it's like a sword connected. Or
No, I think the one on his sword arm is he's wearing it as a wristband or a bracelet. It's very odd. It's not like completely like when I say Photon Pirate, you go what? When you look at him, you go like, oh, well, I guess I get it, but also what? I do appreciate kind of the shift away from the weird mono eye stuff to him actually having a little robot face. Chat, let's play a game. What type is this monster? He's a photon, so you can assume he is a light. What type is this?
He is what I don't. He's a spellcaster.
Both good guesses. Loth guessed Beast Warrior. Vesper guesses Spellcaster. Anybody else in chat want to take a crack?
Sea Serpent or fish?
Thank you for trying. Spirit on Lapis fell for the bait. He said Warrior, the obvious answer. You know I wouldn't be asking if it was that. This is a machine! Duh!
Oh.
Look at his robot face. He's a machine,
Oh.
obviously.
Oh.
I say with my mocking tone because it's not very obvious because he looks basically the same as all the other photons who were warriors.
I mean, they all could be machines. If they're really
Yeah, I know.
They're,
I don't
energy
know.
beings. They're energy beings inside metal.
I don't get it. This is a level 3 light machine, 1,000, 1,000. You can banish one photon monster from your graveyard. This card gains 1,000 attack until the end phase. You can use this effect of Photon Pirate thrice per turn. Or up to twice per turn. Sorry, not thrice. But yeah, so, like, again, honestly, for 2013 card design, not terrible. You can banish up to 2 photons to get...
It's good.
Yeah. Like, if you banish 1, he's got 2k, which counts for Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon. And if you banish 2, he's a 3k beater. Like, that's not awful. It only lasts 1 turn, but still, like, this has plays. And again, this is that thing that Axe was talking about. We're not quite at the stage where you're actually supposed to be playing the Photon monsters as part of your Xyz engine. They are just an engine to summon Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon.
It's
But
kind
that,
of exists.
This works.
It's like it's meant to be the whole idea of early form of Blue Eyes, where it's probably about summoning multiple versions of multiples.
Yeah,
of the dragon.
where I would even argue that not even that, like, just Kaiba stuff in general was a lot of it was just like, how can Kaiba get enough guys on board to either summon Blue Eyes or Obelisk? Like, there were several tricks in Kaiba's deck during the Battle City time period that were just, how can I get 3 guys on the board so I can summon Obelisk, so I can summon God? But our next one is another weirdy boy, but actually, again, a card that makes sense. This is Photon Satellite. It is a satellite. I don't really have anything else to say about that.
That's, like that. It's the satellite.
He's chilling. So this is a level 1 light machine, 0/0.
This feels like a card that literally was just like a set dressing piece and then just became a card later.
Maybe, but I think it works. Again, this is a card that, like, again, these days, probably too slow, but in the past, actually did something. Once per turn, you can target one other Photon monster you control. The levels of both that monster and this card become the combined levels of those 2 monsters. So, this card turns all of your dumb level 3s into 4s, and it turns Satellite into a 4. So, you can make rank 4s. Obviously, again, that's way too finicky these days, and I think it says a lot that, once again, this was a card that was in the Zexal tin, and Konami has not decided to reprint since because you just play 4s. but like for the time period, as either a weird anime like effect fixer, and even as a way to make the other photon cards in your deck have more synergy, pretty all right for 2013. Level fixing is never like wrong.
I'm just like, again, like I honestly can't get over this card's art. Like,
He's just a satellite, yeah. Hey, so are
But,
you
like,
ready for the most? I know you're being brain hacked by this right now. I'm unfortunately, Vesper, I have to tell you, I've got another one that people are not going to be okay with. Hey, are you ready to meet
No.
Photon Slasher?
What? But we already had a slasher.
Yeah. This guy's name in the OCG was Photon Slayer. Clearly that was too violent, so we had to call him Photon Slasher. But if Slasher was okay, why did we call Thrasher Thrasher? What is going on here?
Can I say this thing actually looks cool though?
This one looks better, I think. Yeah, he's a little neater art. Sadly, he is a level 5, so he sucks. But he looks neat. But yeah, like, this guy is Slasher. Why? Well, because he was Slayer. We can't call him Slayer. But Slasher was free because we called Slasher Thrasher. Why did we change Slasher to Thrasher? I don't know. Maybe somebody in the TCG office had a lisp. I don't know. I don't get it. Art-wise, I do
hate it
agree.
here.
This guy, I know, right? What a week, huh? Captain, it's Tuesday. No, yeah. Again, design-wise, this guy looks pretty cool. Like, he's got the glow, but he's getting more armored. His weird, like, eye socket things are a little less, like, big. He's got some more dynamic background. Like I said, unfortunately, this guy is a level 5, so he sucks. Photon Slasher is a level 5 light warrior. He has 2100 attack and 1000 defense. If a face-up exceeds monsters on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand in face-up defense position. So, again, hypothetically, this is a way, if you're going second, you have this in your hand, your opponent makes an exceeds monster, you're like, cool, great, I'm going to summon a guy. That means that I can, get more guys to make my dragon. But in practicality, there are way better ways to get to guys that have 2k or more attack, so just this guy it doesn't make the cut anymore. And he's just a weirdo. A weird outlier.
Yeah.
But he looks neat.
He does.
All right. Now,
Ju-
no, go ahead.
No, I'm good. Just, again, like we were talking about, just, like,
I know. All right, so... What's the database? How do I... There we go, okay. So I do not believe we talked about it in full last time, or if we did, it's been well over a month. But it is important to mention, because we are going to be talking about tachyons as well. This was the era when number 107, Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon, came out. So this will be relevant for later.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Tachyon came out in... Tachyon Dragon, I should say, came out in 2013 as well, in Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy, which is now a card name. I think we did mention it in brief last time, because it is a Galaxy Eyes, but also I thought pretty sure we knew we were going back. But yeah, it's a dragon that is also a robot. It's pretty cool. I don't know much else to say about that. He's chilling. He's a guy. Tachyon Dragon is a generic rank 8. He's a light dragon. Exceeds. He's got 3k attack, 2500 defense. Once per battle phase at the start of your battle phase, attach a material, negate the effects of all your face-up monsters, and their attack and effect become original. During the battle phase, if you activate this effect, each time your opponent's effect resolves, this card gains 1000 attack and can make a second attack during the battle phase. So this is Big Bunkless OTK tool. Your board is negated. I am now attacking you. Die.
Suffer.
Yes. And again, this will be relevant because we are going to talk about the handful of Tachyon guys that are getting added to support this guy. Because these is a few.
Mecha Dragon.
Yeah. Also, technically, this guy is not in the in archetype by naming conventions, but is clearly intended to be. There are a couple other cards like this, so I wanted to throw him in there as well. This is Star Liege Paladynamo. So this guy's name in Japanese is Kikoshi Paradaisu. Or Paradiso. Kikoshi is translated here as Radiant Photon, and then his name is Palladius. So he doesn't have photon, like in English, in his name, but he's clearly supposed to be connected to photons. And he sure looks like a photon.
Yeah.
He's another Space Knight. He's a little more human-looking than most of our photons. Like, he looks like a guy wearing armor, but he's got, you know, a sword that looks like a photon sword. He's got some space stuff.
He's got the yellow eye. He's got the yellow gem. Then
He's got
like
the orbs in the sockets, which are very, very common photon stuff. He's doing very well. He looks pretty good. But also, this is, I think, the case where we started to get some room to actually, like, make these guys, like, doing some stuff. So this is a rank 4 Warrior Light Xyz. He's got 2,000 attack, 1,000 defense. He requires 2 level 4 light monsters, so he's not completely generic, but is lights. Once per turn, detach 2 Xyz material from this card. Target a face-up monster your opponent controls, change its attack to 0, and negate its effects. Its effects are negated. Notice how that doesn't have a stop point. If this card you control is destroyed by an opponent's card and sent to the graveyard, draw 1 card. So honestly, as a card you can make in Photon, not terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's solid.
Detach 2, attack 0, negate. Pretty good for what the deck does. And if it's destroyed, you get to draw a card, so like it gives you some reset. And it does have 2k attack, so you can technically tribute it for the guy, the boy. I think there are better, you know, rank 4s you can make in Galaxy, but it works out. Now, this card is a little weird because I think he's going to look newer than he is, but this card came out in 2014. It's Paladin of Photon Dragon. Remember this shit?
What the fuck? Is this a ritual?
Yes.
Okay, I was gonna say, I'm like, this is just the Paladin of White.
Yeah, this is one of those ritual dragon guys. Here's the ritual spell. Also, I'll pull it up as well. It's called Luminous Dragon Ritual. But yeah, it's...
Well, visually, but I don't... It's trying to replicate the whole Blue Eyes thing, so...
No, I mean, I'm not sure what's going on with the aesthetics of the actual Paladin part. Like, he's got a big, like, helmet with the...
Bidens.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. The spear is actually... Funnily enough, you say you call it a Bident because it kind of is, but there's another spell in Photon that's Photon Trident. It may actually have, like, the third spike be bigger. But yeah, so, like, that's kind of a thing I think he's going for. But the dragon design is, like, way more normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Dragon than I think even Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon is. But yes, this is another one of those Paladin of X-Dragon series. They did one for Armed Dragon. Technically, they did one for Firewall, which is also very weird. And there's obviously one for Red Eyes and Blue Eyes. Let me see if I can actually get a full list of the Paladins of Dragons. Let's see. Dark Dragon for Red Eyes. Storm Dragon for Firewall, one for Blue Eyes. And they released one for Armed Dragon as well. Knight of Armor Dragon, who, by the way, is called Knight of Armor Dragon. I don't know how the fuck the TCG dropped the ball on that one. They all have the same name, but they decided to call that guy Knight of Armor Dragon, not Paladin of X Dragon, which literally the other 4 guys are. I guess whoever was responsible for translating Blazing Vortex hadn't ever
They
seen
missed
those
the memo.
cards. Yeah. Which, to be fair, I totally understand. Like, the last guy they printed was Paladin of Storm Dragon, which was in 2018, and I also don't know if anybody actually played Signet Ritual, or if you did for that guy. But yeah, so this is the Galaxy version of that. So Paladin of Photon Dragon. He is a, oddly enough, a level 4 light warrior ritual. He has 1900 attack, 800 defense, pretty normal for those types of monsters. You can ritual summon it with Luminous Dragon Ritual. Tribute this card, special summon Galaxy Eyes Photon Dragon from your hand or deck. When this card destroys an opponent's card by battle and sends it to graveyard, draw one card. You're never going to do that because you're just going to use it to summon more Geps, but for a Paladin card, I think it works. And then Luminous Dragon Ritual is pretty normal. It's a little rough because it says you must tribute monsters from your hand or field whose totals are exactly 4, but you're playing a deck that probably has 4s in it. Luminous Dragon Ritual also lets you banish it from the graveyard and monsters in your graveyard that equal 4 to also summon it. This is treated as a ritual summon, so... And neither of those are once per turn, so technically you can actually get multiples of those guys on the board that way pretty easily. So, like, again, not terrible, just I don't think these days Photon or Galaxy Eyes needs a ritual package in there. But, again, for 2014, not the weirdest shit. Speaking of 2014 cards, this one is probably something nobody has ever seen, but I love him because he's hilarious. It's Photon Charge Man.
Uh-huh.
Charge Man.
That's just the guy.
It is indeed.
Yeah,
he is a Charge Man.
It's a cool suit, but it's a suit.
Yeah, it is indeed just a guy.
It's some kind of like it's like a metal. It's like a Meta Hero villain or like some kind of like Ultraman one-off character.
Yeah. And again, I think that fits some of the aesthetics we're going for in Photon. It's just kind of weird. So Photon Charge Man is a level 4 light warrior. He's got 1000 attack and defense, but once per turn, you can make this card's attack become double its original attack until your next standby phase. This card cannot attack the turn you activate this effect, but you don't care because it's got 2000 attack, tribute for Gap.
As is, you know, with...
It's just another name. It's just another name. It's another way you can summon Galaxy Eyes. Cool.
Not reliable.
That's what you need sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's just more guys, more bodies. And I believe we showed this art before, but again, did not discuss the effect. But let's talk about because it took them a little while to come out with Chaos number 107, Neo Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon.
Yep, this is a boy we've seen.
Not much to talk about his art again. We already talked about it, but I think somebody said last time that out of all of the cards that are very obviously supposed to be King Ghidorah or Mecha King Ghidorah, this one's pretty good.
This is the one.
Yeah, this is that guy of all time. Tails everywhere. Still don't know what's going on with his arm feet. They're spaceships, but he's from space, so who cares? I don't think I mentioned last time, but I may have. But the way that they write the kanji for the meaning of tachyon is space-time. They do still say in like the pronunciation that it's pronounced tachyon, but calling it space-time dragon is like, nah, that makes sense. This guy's a light dragon Xyz who's rank 9, 4,500 attack, 3k defense, 3 level 9 monsters. Once per turn, you can attach material from this card until the end of this turn, negate the effects of all other face-up cards currently in the field. You're going to kind of activate cards or effects on the field. If this card has Tachyon Dragon as material, the regular number 107, it gains this effect. Tribute 2 monsters. This card can make 3 attacks in the battle phase this turn. That's it. It's very simple. It's a pretty bog standard chaos number. You hopefully,
it's a guy.
Yeah, you hopefully rank up off of Tachyon, and it becomes a pretty good face-up negate, like a Dark Ruler type effect, and it gets to attack 3 times if you have more monsters. It's literally Trident Dragion, but an Xyz.
I find it interesting that I look at this thing and it doesn't look like it's too much. It's not busy. It's a lot, but it doesn't feel like it's busy. If that makes any sense. Like,
Yeah, no, I think they've got enough unified like color scheme that it's not busy. It's just like you get the idea of like, oh, this guy's
a
pretty
lot.
big. He's a pretty
That's a
big
lot of shit
guy.
on it.
He's got a lot of stuff going on. And
it's
now
not confusing to look at. It's just a lot.
Konami does the thing that they do, which is I think there was some Galaxy support in these intervening years, but they didn't really do anything with the Photon or Tachyon side for like 4 years, for like the equivalent of a normal ass like period of like anime seasons or themes. In the 2019-2018 era, once we started hitting links, they were like, time for legacy support. Alphabetically, the first one of those is Photon Adventure. Photon Adventure. Honestly, looking a little more modern, but still looking pretty reasonably Photon. He's got kind of the inset orbs. He's got the glow. I don't know why he has a bag on his head, but
Don't worry about it.
it's fine. He looks like he belongs.
Look, he's ashamed of being a White Sox fan right now. That's all he does.
Yeah, I bet. So this is another level 4 light warrior. He's got 1,000. So I guess we remember Chargeman exists. He says, if a Photon monster is on the field, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Photon Advancer once per turn this way. If you have another Photon monster on the field, it gains 1,000 attack. We've done it, chat. We've solved it. We've made it so that you can get to Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon without needing your normal summon at all. Special Thrasher, Special Advancer. Boom. And you can also make a rank 4 that way. So yeah, no, this guy's good. Like, this is... I'm pretty sure if you're making a modern, like, rank 4 type Photon Galaxy list, this guy probably makes the cut, because he's a fairly free special. More bodies. And of course, last time we did talk about Orbital 7 and Lilybot, but would you believe they retrained that boy?
Yes.
I mean, you'd believe it, yes, because I think you know these cards, but it's Photon Orbital. I don't know if Orbital 7 is excited and doing a disco pose, or if we're currently killing him a la the Ojama in Watt Cancel.
I think he's dying.
He shocks himself. He gets himself shocked quite a few times, and I think this is also how maybe it looks like when he's being shocked during a fight.
Yeah, he's literally wearing a dual disc. You can see Yu-Gi-Oh cards inside the Yu-Gi-Oh card in this art. It's very funny. I'm pretty sure this is probably either a manga panel or an anime frame that they turned into a card art, but it's very funny to me. Other than that, it's Orbital 7 again. There's not much to say about here. He's a Photon.
He's actually a good searcher now.
Yes,
No.
boss.
Yes, he is the yes boss. This came out in Legendary Duelist White Dragon Abyss, aka Let's Do Some Legacy support. White Dragon Abyss literally had Kaiba on the cover. It was nothing but well, I mean, it was mostly rivals, but like the big ones that it did was Blue Eyes, Cyber Dragon, and Galaxy Eyes and Photon stuff that I forgot. But also, it did apparently have some new Blackwings and some new Abyss actors in there as well. So it's oops, all rivals. But for some reason, by the way, once again, I just want to say, somehow Crow and Blackwing stole what definitely for thematic reasons should have fucking been Red Dragon Archfiend. We haven't talked about Abyss Actors yet, but we should sometime. But that was a good fucking Abyss Actor set, by the way, too. This is where Madonna Comic Relief came from. Fantastic Theater, Curtain Call were all new in that set.
Oh my god.
Like, it's a good set. What are the new Blackwing cards? Were there any new ones? There were. Blackbird Close. Ooh. This was the set where we first released Sea Moon. And Full Armor Master. Okay. Is that Thunder?
That is Thunder, yes.
Damn.
Damn, yeah.
I usually ask if my Thunder's being picked up, but we're a little quiet right now. All right, well. Let's keep going.
It's still going, by
Yeah,
the way.
no.
It hasn't stopped.
Ooh, that's a big one. Okay, all right. Let's move on with the effect before that becomes a problem. Photon Orbital is a level 4 light machine. He's got 500 attack, 2k defense. During your main phase, target a galaxy or photon monster you control. Equip this card from your hand or field to that target. It gains 500 attack and can't be destroyed by battle. You can send this equip card to the graveyard. Add a photon or a galaxy monster from your deck to your hand, except Orbital. You can only use this effective Orbital once per turn. Good card. So lots here, yay. Good job, Loth. You missed all the shitty cards. Only good cards.
That's okay.
left.
If I was here earlier, you would have had to hear me bitch about being caught up so often, because the entire time I was out and about, I got like 5 phone calls from people congratulating me.
What?
Congratulations.
Later.
Getting a job.
Oh, good on you, man.
Axe wasn't there for that
Anyway.
conversation, but yeah, no. But still, it's, yeah, funny. But yeah, Orbital. It's a good card. It's got a weird, like, union effect without being a union monster because Konami is scared of subtypes. But also sending it as an equip card from hand to just search is good. Any Photon, any Galaxy monster, except Orbital. We also got, in that same set as...
Also, I mean,
Orbital.
technically, I didn't miss out on all the shitty cards. I was here in stream chat.
Well, it's true, but you did not feel compelled to talk about them at length.
Well, yeah. I mean, the one I was excited about that wasn't mentioned was just the, where's our Z-Arc Paladin? Give it to us, cowards.
Actually, that is funny. That is the only... Like, that's the only era they straight up skipped. Like, there's no Paladin of any, Arc 5 era decks.
Oh, Vanisher.
They went back
a
and
wonderful
added
card.
one for GX with armor. And yes,
Oh,
this is
card's
Photon
so
Vanisher.
good. It's so weird how late it exists, but it's such a good card.
No, I mean, I think it makes sense. Like I said, this came out in White Dragon Abyss. White Dragon Abyss, once again, to remind everybody, was... that was where you got prints of... that was the first set that had Bingo Machine Go, and Ultimate Creature of Destruction. No, Vanisher's from this. It's been
Vanisher's
reprinted
2017.
several times.
Mm.
2018 is the first
Okay, yeah.
when it was printed in the TCG. But they did. You can know it's a good card because they've reprinted it several times. It was reprinted when they did the Season 2 recollection and in Battles of Legend Monstrous Revenge, which I think also had some more Galaxy and Photon cards in it. But like the White Dragon Abyss just had a lot of good shit. That was where like Cyber Load Fusion was printed. Full Armor
Right.
Master Sea Moon.
Can I take a moment to like
Vanisher
point out like how
Orbital?
this like plasma gun is just like designed so fucking badly?
Yeah, it's
Like,
very
it looks
boxy.
like-
it's a
It's like
toy.
it's meant to be like it's like a giant pistol that's meant to be like a rifle, but or a carbine, but it's not either because it's like
It looks like a weird...
trying to be
yeah,
both?
It's in between.
I would assume it is designed to be like. I don't know if it's
Force gun.
supposed to be like that, but I feel like a decent number of the Photon cards are kind of, as we like to say, toyetic. They look a lot like action figures. Yeah. So like this looks like a gun for a toy or for like a CG model that's like way more polygonal than it needs to be, but it's very obvious. But yeah, no, this is the even bigger Magnum from Cursed Halo again.
Oh no.
no, that one at least actually does something.
I mean, this gun does something. It shoots a beam.
You kept killing me with that thing, Axe. Don't lie.
I don't. I'll reel off. It's like I can only remember so much. I remember.
I mean,
the
it's
go
Cursed
karts.
Halo's literally cursed. Yeah.
Yeah.
remember
Oh
the
yeah, you
go
guys.
karts.
Cursed
did-
Halo was a fever dream for Axe.
You
It
guys.
sounded like he was
So you
losing
guys
his
played it
mind.
late enough to do Halo Kart? Okay.
Okay, no, we cleared the whole thing. We did the
Well, no,
bonus
what I
modes.
mean is you because there were multiple versions of Cursed Halo.
Okay, listen, Halo Kart was such a good time. Halo Kart was like the highlight, honestly.
Very interesting because
I said-
I just today completed Ray's highlight clip of him doing it. I think Halo Kart was the worst time he had, but admittedly he had to deal with AI Johnson not having a buddy.
Well, listen, we were doing it together. It was a good time of us trying each to help each other, and it was just
Anyway,
funny.
Vanisher is a good card, like Axe said. It is another level 4 light warrior. It has 2,000 attack and 0 defense. We're rumbly again.
Hey.
Can't be normal summoned or set. Must be first special summon from your hand while you control a Photon or Galaxy monster. Can't attack the turn special summon. You can special summon Vanisher once per turn. But if this card is special summoned, add a Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon from your deck to your hand, and the Exceed monster that's summoned using the card's material gains banish any monster destroyed by battle with this card. So this is just them going, shit, we need Thrasher too.
So, I was about to say this is a card you love to see in your opening hand, but also hate to see in your opening hand.
I mean, unfortunately, you're playing a rank 8 deck, so that is just how it is.
That is how it is. But is there a card of being like, this is the guy giving Thrasher supporting fire?
Yes. And ideally, I think the intended Wombo combo is special Thrasher, special this guy, search Gep. You can, again, immediately special summon Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon without using your normal.
Usually, you actually more want to, probably the ones that normal the Galaxy Knight, and then do the thing, and then do 8s, or do other.
What you
spell
probably
criteria
want to do is
like
overlay
8.
for one of your good rank 4s, because it has an overlay effect as well. But yeah, it's
And
just one of those cases.
and then
where
you can
get
just search or summon from deck, usually from there.
We have another Starleash card that was printed during this time. This is around 2019, which is a card you're going to have seen, and you're going to wonder, this was technically a Photon-related card? Yes. This is Starleash Seifert. Kikoryu Seifato. Radiant Light Dragon Seifert.
He's safer.
I don't know what the fuck Seifert means. This is a guy... Oh, Seifert Galaxies. It's a galaxy group. It's very large. Okay, makes sense.
It's got what's in its chest, I guess.
Yeah. And so, like, clearly supposed to be a Galaxy and Photon adjacent card, but it is not an archetype check, but you could play. You probably saw this more in, like, Chaos Dragon, Dragon Link type shit. But it is a light dragon level 4 with 1800 attack. It says you can send any number of dragon monsters from your hand or face-up field to the graveyard. Add a dragon monster from deck to your hand whose levels equals the total original levels of those monsters sent. Banish this card from your graveyard, target a level 8 light or dark dragon monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand, and each effective Seifert once per turn. Again, this one leans a little more towards the Tachyon side of the support. We're not going to talk about every single level 8 light or dark dragon that, once again, I do not remember. Was it Mizar was the Tachyon guy? I don't remember.
That sounds right.
Yeah, but he used a lot more generic rank 8 stuff about light and dark dragons. So this is more in that ballpark, but is also, once again, still very much like a card that is like in the oeuvre we're talking about. We also, Konami decided also to just bridge the archetypes and, do more stuff. Because now we have... Oh, he's got a long name. It's Starleash Photon Blast Dragon.
I feel like we talked about this guy. I remember right?
I
One
don't
does a
think
lot.
we did.
He looks familiar.
Because he doesn't have Galaxy in his name, but he is a
Oh, he
Photon.
doesn't.
He looks a lot similar to Kai's, though. There's several cards that look very much like him. I don't have a lot to say about it. He's a Photon extra deck monster. He's a dragon.
Man, I can't believe he's a dragon. Never would have guessed.
Yeah, I know, right? He should be a lizard. Anyway, this is
He should be
another...
a lizard type.
This is another light dragon Xyz, rank 4, obviously. 1800 attack, 2500 defense. He's completely generic, 2 level 4s. If this card was Xyz summoned, you can special summon a Photon monster from your hand. While the Xyz summon monsters on the field, your opponent can't target monsters you control with 2000 or more attack with card effects, and they can't be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. Once per turn, as a quick effect, you can detach a material from this card, target a Galaxy Ice Photon Dragon that's banished or in your graveyard, special summon it.
Considering you use your Photon Dragons as discard fodder or material for other things, you want them in your grave anyway.
Yeah, you discard them or detach them, and you can get them back that way, or you can bin them.
This looks like one of the previous warrior monsters has finally transitioned into being a dragon.
We're happy for him.
Yeah.
Finally grown out of his
Congratulations.
shell, become a dragon. Yeah.
You
But no,
finally
this is
evolve.
another one of those
For
cards
being
that's like, just
Dragonkin,
like...
but he committed.
This is just
Truly
another one of those
digital-
cases where
truly
Konami was
digital.
just like, yeah, we can give you a rank 4 that does everything.
Who cares?
Well, considering like you need to make this rank 4, then one other rank 4, and then like
Yeah.
sometimes a link, and then do like one. Your board usually
Well, and
needs,
the
like,
funny part is
3
this card came out in
like 8s to
2018,
actually
so
have a solid board.
you still had to also play around link arrows too, which is why they gave Galaxy a link as well. But it's just a really funny case where it's like, yeah, no. They went pretty turbo. It's not enough to like break the deck, but I'm pretty sure Starliege gets in there. Oh, actually, I should say this. We mentioned this in the Galaxy episode, but I haven't brought it up again in the Photon half of the episode. But Galaxy decks, which we can just say Galaxy includes Galaxy Eyes, Galaxies, Photons, Tachyons, etc. They have so much fucking support that nobody can really nobody can agree on what the optimal deck list is, even. So any number of these cards could see play. A lot of it is going to be to personal preference and also just extra deck space. You have a lot of options when building this deck. No one has reached consensus on what is the like optimal format of the deck. So you can kind of just do fucking whatever. People will yell about you on the internet if you don't do it their version, but there's a lot of valid builds of Photon. And now we're going to shoot into the future. We're post Master Rule revisions. I'm going to be showing you cards from like 2023 and even this year, 2024. This is Photon Delta Wing.
This is a ship.
Yeah, it's a Delta Wing. It
Is
does
it
have
a machine?
Yeah, yes. Thank God. It does have some Photon-like aspect. It's got kind of the embedded gems. It's got the blue color, but it's a spaceship. It looks kind of like an accessory you'd buy for your action figures.
It does. It feels like some like wing pack on like some kind of like mecha hero.
Delta Wing came out this year in 2024 in Maze of Memory, so it's a very recent card.
Oh.
It's a level 4 light machine. It's got 1800 attack, 900 defense. If this card is normal summoned, special summon a Photon Delta Wing from your hand or deck in defense position. You can't special summon for the rest of this turn except light monsters. Your opponent cannot declare an attack while you control another Photon Delta Wing. So
This guy just looks like a fancy USB stick.
USB sticks
Or
are
like
using.
some kind of like it feels like just like a
I've seen
actual,
some weird ones out there.
It's a literal Delta Wing.
It makes you think of a model plane that also could be like a bow.
It's true. The glowing bits do kind of look a little like they shoot out.
I knew a guy in high school who turned a PS1 controller into a USB stick.
What a freak. He shouldn't have wasted a PS1 controller that way.
Yeah.
Delta Wing, it does eat your normal summon, but, like, not a terrible card. You instantly summon a second. It's got a Marauding Captain lock kind of built in.
I will say that if you are doing it right, if you're lucky, honestly, with Galaxy Photon, you don't actually need your normal summon.
Yeah, that was I mentioned it before because I remember what Delta Wing did. There's a couple of those combos where if you're doing it right, your other Photon monsters don't even need to use your normal. So Delta Wing's just another level 4 you can get out. And, oh no, you're locked to light monsters. Whatever will you do?
Oh no. Anyway.
Wait, non-light monsters? What is that?
Yeah, no, like, it's good because, hypothetically, I think there could be some space for, like, some weird generic machine deck stuff, but usually you don't use 4s for that, and a lot of them specifically call it Earth Machine anyway these days. You're not going to run this in Sigra, that's for sure. I don't think they've got anything to do that would...
No, you only run
4s.
Galaxy Soldier.
Yeah, 'cause that's 5, so, like, that works out, but, like, Delta Wing locking you to light doesn't really do anything, and it's just more bodies, more mats, more bodies. Like, the thing you need to understand about Photon, especially as they've built it these days, is just more gas, baby. It's all about getting you more 4s, more mats. Anyway, remember how I said that somebody remembered that Photon Kaiser was a guy because he's kind of got a retrain? The Thunder remembers.
No.
It's Photon Emperor.
Oh Jesus, good lord!
Yeah.
That is really an upgrade to Caesar, and I don't know how to feel about that because it makes you think of like it's a Mega Man ZX boss.
Yeah. We duct taped a lot of extra shit to Photon Caesar,
Like,
to Photon Kaiser.
Like, am I wrong here? Thinking like this looks like a boss or like a Mega
Oh no,
Man
yeah, this could
Z
be
or
a
ZX
Zero or
boss?
ZX
yeah.
era boss for sure. Like, but like it's
Look
so
at his
weird.
tiny face.
Yes, he's got a very small face. He has space
tiny, like,
abs.
Also, yeah, look at this, like it's like it looks like he's wearing basically a power suit, or like this is an upgrade form for like a movie for something for like Caesar or
His
something.
legs
it's, like,
are
weird.
so long, like because he's probably sticking them in his giant shoes. His
Yeah, they're, like,
shield
in
is a
the
knife,
yeah.
and his spear lance sword is covered in teeth. Not a huge fan. I appreciate that they remembered that Caesar existed and actually, like, kind of had a reason to be in this deck, but also...
but it's working.
He's goofy. Photon Emperor is a level 8 light warrior. He's got 2,800 attack, 1,000 defense. If this card is sent to the graveyard, except from the field, well, another Photon or Galaxy monster is on your field or in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position. You can only use this effect once per turn. After you normal or special summon this card, you can normal summon one light monster during your main phase in addition to your normal summoner set. You can only gain this effect once per turn. Nah, solid card. Literally free trade-in. Like, just have a Photon or Galaxy monster on your field or in your graveyard. Pitch this guy with trade-in or with any other reason. Summon him back. He gives you an extra normal when specialed or normaled. Great shit.
Sounds like a solid card.
Yeah, no. This is a guy who probably makes the cut in your deck, despite the fact that he looks like ass. Well, not like ass, but he looks like,
to see it anyway.
You've glizzed him up. This guy, I feel like art-wise has to be like a weird manga card that finally got printed or something. But this is another one that's actually pretty good, if I remember correctly. It's Photon Jumper.
This feels like 3 turnips. But it feels like it's doing the Matador. It's like a Matador thing.
Okay, yes. This is from a manga panel, because he was in the Zexal manga. So this is just his summoning animation. Yeah, so Photon Jumper. He does look like a Matador, yes. That's also what exactly I thought. I don't know why he has a cape. And why he's doing a jump.
He's missing the same. He's missing the sword. He hits you.
Help.
He's missing the sword. He hits you
That's
3
yes,
8
Axe.
times.
You said it like 4 times.
I kept, but sentences get cutting short.
I think you cut out.
It was you and Vesper trying to talk at the same time, so
who was punching their desk?
Am I punching my desk?
I don't know. It sounded like somebody was clanking and rattling back there. It may just have been
Probably
thunder.
my
I don't know.
microphone picking up my chair.
Creaky chair.
What is with his blade face?
Once again, don't know. I don't know. It looks like a Dark Souls armor set. I know.
Yeah.
But none of the rest of him looks like that, so I don't get it. But he's a manga guy who finally got printed. Good for him.
Wait a second, hold on, where is it? Don't mind me, that's just a gif I have to find.
I'm sure. I think I know which one you're thinking of. Sorry, you're on there. We've been doing this for 2 hours. Photon Jumper. He's a light warrior, level 4, of course. He's 0/0. When your opponent's monster declares an attack, activate this effect. Skip your next battle phase, but summon this card from your hand, end this battle phase. This card's sent to the graveyard. Add a Photon or Galaxy spell trap from your deck to your hand. You can use each effect once per turn. Jumper's an okay card. Like, obviously, he's got weird manga card syndrome with his, like, hand trap effect. I would honestly probably rather play Curry Photon if I really needed that. But his effect when he's just sent to the fucking graveyard is search a spell trap, a Photon or Galaxy spell trap. That's pretty good.
Pretty nifty.
Like, he might make a cut. Let's see if
so
we can-
I did find it. Exactly what I thought about.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Doesn't have the sound to go with it though, but yeah.
Well, no, but you could hear it in your brain.
For the audience, it is the gif of the guy from Bloodborne with the weird cone head just sliding down the ladder.
Yeah, it's the Bloodborne cone helmet, and the helmet is animated so that it looks like it's bouncing off each rung of the ladder.
Your ears are probably super fucked from that.
Your head might be like it's all
Yeah, but
Newtonian
some
physics.
rings hard.
Okay, now for this one, we're gonna have to get a little wacky.
A little.
Well, so these
fucking
cards
tendril?
aren't printed in the TCG or.
I think the stream is still going. We can see the OBS like loadings are.
Yeah, it's going. It's back. I mean, yeah, the stream doesn't end because I didn't tell YouTube to end it, but OBS went down, so you couldn't hear or see anything, chat. You would have been buffering. But what I was saying before was that we know because Duelist of Brilliance is revealed what's in it, but it hasn't been printed in the TCG or in Master Duel yet. So we're going to talk about the Tachyon support stuff. First, Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Primal. I think we briefly mentioned this guy and showed him on screen. We did Galaxy, but he's very much more a Tachyon card.
It is directly like a thing where I know in the show where they had it was just energy instead of the tails. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a reference to the show. But also, I think this fits a format we see with a lot of cards like Spirit of Neo, Spirit of Yubel. It's just, yeah, hell, even Spirit of, Dragon Spirit of White. It's just the card, the Yu-Gi-Oh card, but a ghost. It's a pretty sick-looking ghost. Like, it's a pretty cool effect. But a ghosty he do be. So
just looking at so I just comparing him to the normal one, just like, this is you.
To me, it's like this is the
God,
beginning.
he's just so glowy.
he's big glowing. So Tachyon Primal is a light dragon level 8, so it is a main deck monster. It's 3k 25. When a Dragon Xyz monster declares an attack, attach this card to it as material. You can use each of the following effects once per turn. If Dragon Xyz monster is on the field, quick effect, special summon this card from your hand to either field. If this card's normal special summoned, its owner adds a Tachyon spell trap from their deck to their hand. So a pretty reliable engine to search new and old Tachyon spell traps, which are actually relevant. Our next Tachyon, because they threw Tachyon in there because they're part of the package, but there are still not very many of them. But we got a Tachyon version of Cloud Dragon. There's Galaxy Cloud Dragon. Now here's Tachyon Cloud Dragon. It's Tachyon Dragon, but chibi.
Kind of cute on it.
No, I think he's very cute.
Yep.
Looks like Tachyon Primal is the trial boss. This is the minion you get from that boss.
Yeah.
I think he probably was like the savage version of the actual normal Tachyon.
That could also be true because he's way more glowy.
Yeah. You
but
get
yeah,
into half health. You do the mechanic. He phase shifts.
He shifts into fucking time shift. Oh god, I can see that. Unfortunately, he starts fucking with space time. Anyway, Tachyon Cloud Dragon. He's just a little guy. This is a light dragon level 4, 300 attack, 2500 defense. Once again, stats don't matter. This is the Xyz card, baby. Step 1. This card is a poplar. If this card's added to your hand except by drawing it, special summon it.
Material, baby.
You can tribute this card, special summon a Tachyon monster from your deck or graveyard except Cloud Dragon. If you special summon Dragon Xyz monsters, you suffer a damage step. Target one of them, attach this card to it as material from the graveyard, even if it was there when it was summoned, or hand, even if it was not. You can use each effect once per turn. So yeah, this is another card that just like kind of trying to bring the Tachyon strategy together, but just like crazy good. Like literally free summon Primal from your deck, or if you've already made one of the Tachyon extra deck monsters from your graveyard. You know, Tachyon or Neo Tachyon Dragon. And then also, it attaches from graveyard to give you guys extra mats. And like I said, it's a poplar, so it just gets summoned for free when you search it off of Tachyon Primal. So yeah, no, very solid card. I do think a lot of people are like... I've heard some commentators be like, oh man, we're going to give every deck a poplar. Every deck's going to get a card that if you add it to your hand except drawing, you can summon it. Well, that may be true, but I don't think that's actually going to like break every single deck.
I think it works for very
it's just
specific
gonna
decks.
it's just gonna make other decks just have fun stuff to do.
Yeah.
Really?
Because like, and especially because this card isn't that searchable. Like, yes, you do have a searcher for it, but your options to search Tachyon are still very limited. Because it's not a very Tachyon is absolutely not fleshed out enough to stand on its own. But even then, as part of like a rank 8, like that kind of dragon package, like a deck focused on turboing out number 107, you only have very limited options. So like this deck is out in the OCG. Yes, it was released several months ago in the OCG. I don't think Galaxy Eyes has been making waves in the OCG since these cards came out. It's just giving you more fun stuff to do in the deck. I also probably similarly think that it probably won't like start making a hella waves in the TCG when the set actually gets released, but it could. You never know. They have some very good spell traps for you to search. We also did get yet another, again, not actually have any of the archetypes in its name, but is a rank 8 dragon that is absolutely supposed to be part of this. And I can't remember if we looked at him before, but I'll pull him up on screen again, because, again, like a lot of these guys, I don't think we talked about his effect. Oh, shit. Curse you. Google. Actually, it's just Windows problem. Putting copy image and save image as right next to each other. Anyway, this is Dragluxion. I can't remember. Somebody talked about this like a month ago when we brought this up. I can't remember if Dragluxion is supposed to be like Draglubion and the other Dragleon like combined, or it's like he's the numeral dragon like full power, or what? Or if he's just yet another retrain of that guy because there's like 3 different versions of the Crimson Dragon.
It makes me think of like the Luxion, but like, it's got the tachyon plates.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what this guy is supposed to be doing, but he's definitely in that vein. Dragluxion, whose full name in Japanese, by the way, they cut all the FAF for the TCG, is Shine Kinryu Dragluxion, Ethereal Gold Dragon Dragluxion. He is a light dragon Ixie, rank 8. He's got 2,500 attack and 3k defense. He's completely generic. But if this card's special summon for your extra deck, add a Galaxy or Tachyon card from your deck to your hand. So he's a Galaxy or Tachyon searcher. This is like one of the 2 ways you can search Cloud Dragon. You can attach 2 materials from this card. Special summon a 1 rank 8 Dragon Xyz monster with 3,000 attack from your extra deck using this card you control as material. Then attach a Galaxy monster from your extra deck to it as material. This is treated as an Xyz summon. You go each effect once per turn. So he is another way to cheat out funny rank 8s. That's it. Now, we do have a couple of spell traps we might want to talk about in the Photon and Tachyon range. I don't think many of the Photon spell traps are actually worth talking about other than the one I'm about to pull up. Its card art's not very interesting, but people do sometimes complain when we talk about spell traps that playing.
Transmigration? Oh, no. The one
no, that's Tachyon. Photon first.
The Photon Sanctuary.
Yeah, Photon Sanctuary. This is a card that I believe is actually, like, really key to this deck.
It makes 2 tokens that aren't limited by other like most other token effects.
This card's from like 2012, so it's been good for a long time. It's also a Battle Pack 2 card, but Photon Sanctuary, yeah, like Axe said, it summons 2 Photon tokens. The Photon tokens are Thunder Light level 4s with 2,000 attack, but they're summoned in defense position. You can't use the tokens as synchro material, and you can't summon other monsters you activate the turn you activate this card except Light. So it Light locks you, but you can still make links. They are 2,000, so you can summon Gep. You can't overlay them, obviously, because that's not how tokens work. But yeah, it's just a really good card. Like, I think Photon Sanctuary finds its way into several generic light link-making decks because it's just 2 tokens. It's like one-time passcode.
Because they base the whole thing of Galaxy Eyes is entirely the thing. It's special tribute.
Yeah.
So, which is the only card that's ever done something like that. I feel like they could honestly do like special summon, but they're monarchs as an entire deck type, honestly.
Yeah, I think you could make... The phrasing might be a little clunky, but yes, you could do some work like that. The next big one is a card that's old, but is now actually going to be relevant because it is searchable now, or going to be searchable in all formats. Technically, I believe this was the it's originally the Galaxy Eyes Omni, but it's still a card that's important. This is Tachyon Transmigration. It's Tachyon Dragon. He's still in his little ball form. He's chilling. He's taking a nap. But this is a counter trap that says, if you control a Galaxy Eyes monster, activate this card as Chain Link 2 or higher. Negate the activation of all your opponent's spell trap cards and monster effects that are activated before this card in the chain. If you do, shuffle the negated cards back in the deck. If
Yeah,
you control Galaxy Eyes... Go ahead.
It just says, screw this chain link. Screw this chain link.
And it's a counter trap, so unless your opponent has like a Solemn or something set, it's probably the end of the chain. If you control specifically Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon monster, you can activate this card from your hand. So yeah, the only reason I think why this was not super relevant, other than having hella rare printings, this was in World Superstars as a prismatic. But it was reprinted in Maximum Gold a couple years ago as a rare, and also I'm going to guess it's probably going to be reprinted in Duelists of Brilliance when that set gets imported as well, if it's not already in the OCG. Yeah, I see now. It's been reprinted in Duelist of Brilliance as well. So, like, before, the thing that held this back is being a Tachyon card. This was not searchable before. Now, it is. You have cards that search Tachyon spell traps, and if you can easily set up Galaxy as Tachyon Dragon, specifically as part of your end board, you now have one of the greatest counter trap Omnis in the game. This card fucking sucks to play against. Like, just if your opponent has a Galaxy Eyes, so if they wait, they can eat your whole chain, and they shuffle it all back into the deck. Ugh. Roblox oof. Like, this card might be enough to make some of that Tachyon stuff a little playable. Like, it's definitely worth the investment, because, like I said, it acts as a hand trap. It's got all the juice, and it is still, to this day, one of the nastiest counter traps I think you can run.
I love it. It's also really hard to actually get off because people could really, if they know the card exists, they'll know ahead of time if Tachyon's still on board, because usually you don't actually stay on Tachyon. You don't really stay on Tachyon usually.
No, but you might stay on Tachyon if you meet other cards.
Yeah, I guess if you already have a Lord
and
on board,
so long as you keep a Galaxy Eyes, you could just set it, and then, like, you tell your opponent to bet that they have Feather Duster. Worst comes to worst, well, if you have to spend your negate on Feather Duster, that's not, like, the worst in the world, because you know they have to shuffle it back. But that Activate from Hand effect has some plays, because we also made, I'll just show you guys the scan of the card in Japanese. This is the card Lord of the Tachyon Galaxy, named after the set. If you control a Galaxy as Tachyon monster, you can activate this card, the Tachyon Dragon monster, I should say, from your hand. During the battle phase, attach material from a Galaxy as Xyz monster. Shuffle all monsters your opponent controls that were normaled or specialed this turn into the deck.
Oh my god, I love it.
If you control a number C monster, this card's activation and effect can't be negated. You can only Tachyon Galaxy once per turn.
This gives you the time you actually play going first viable.
Yeah. No, this is the you're playing Galaxy Eyes. Your opponent is like, okay, you go first, and you're like, cool, I'm gonna ruin your whole day. Your board, put it back. Shuffle all monsters that were normal or special this turn back into the deck.
So I have a question about rollback. Would rollback apply all those conditions, including like the extra thing, like you just can't negate it because.
Let me read transaction rollback to double check how it's phrased.
It becomes the effect of that card, which means it can even get around the once per turn clause that I only fucking learned from the MBT video. I didn't realize that.
It becomes that card's activation effect. So if the can't be negated is a condition, then no. But also, what are the odds that your opponent is going to be able to negate your unnegatable card? Because you'd have to have a number C on it, I assume, to have the condition proc. But if you put it in graveyard and then transaction rollback it, what's the hope that they're going to have a negate handy for the second one? Keeping in mind, once again, you could activate that card from your hand if you had a Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon monster. So, like, no, it's a big oofy. It's a big oof.
It's a big one.
Now, it's not like, because it only activates during the battle phase. Yes, sadly, Zed, you have missed a lot. We did faff for like 45 minutes, but we've been talking about Galaxy Eyes and Tachyon for a lot, so we're getting towards the end.
Last, like, cards or something?
Yeah, we're talking about spell traps now, which is usually where we wrap up. Are there any other, specifically Photon or Tachyon spell traps that are really worth jamming?
Oh, I can only think of, like, Galaxy. Hero. Wait, no, the ton. I have to like dig to the list to find it.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think we're wrapped up there. I do want to say I've got some more stuff. There are a couple of legacy supports out there we can briefly mention. One, they revealed new Centurion cards. First, Centurion Simelia, or probably possibly Chimelia, because it is actually no, it's Italian, so it's Simelio.
Okay, there's one.
Which one would you want to bring up?
It's a weird starter. It's called Excellite.
Oh, I think we talked about Excel Light in the Galaxy episode because it's a Galaxy or Photon card. But yes, that is an important card. If we did not talk about it, let us know, chat, if you know.
There's also Eternal Bond, which I think just looks kind of weird.
Did we talk about Eternal Bond? Let me look it up.
Not the Photon. Specifically.
Yeah, then probably not.
It's also like
Also
Photon
definitely
Change,
a
but I don't know about
fucking-
that one. Or like
Anime Mag panel.
Photon Time Stop. But
This card is weird. So this is a Photon Trap. It's just a ball. We're balling. But what Eternal Bond here does is target a number of Photon monsters in your graveyard, special summon, but their effects are negated. It's a normal trap that's Soul Charge. You can banish the card from your graveyard, target a Photon monster your opponent controls, take control of it. If you do, its attack becomes the combined attack of all Photon monsters you currently control, but you can't declare attacks except for that monster. This is clearly an anime memento type card. But it's a weird one.
yeah.
But yeah, so the Centurion stuff, Simela is another Dark Pyro monster. I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be...
Enemy.
Nope.
No.
No, their enemies are not that. We don't know what their enemies look like. But no, this is the Squire for... I can't remember her name because she's not in Master Duel, so I can't play her. But the second tuner. Loth and I literally talked about last time how they had not released that one.
Trying to remember the name. What was it? Gunbuster? What's the one after?
Yes.
Exactly
Let's see.
like-
Auxilla is the Synchro, which is in Master Duel, which is very
Oh,
funny.
Diebuster. That's what. There's like these girls look like. She looks like a
Actually,
Diebuster.
yes, thank you. But yeah, so Simela is probably Atsui's Squire because she's, I assume they would have gone with different, but they did go with a Pyro. Level 4 Dark Pyro, 12, 16. If your opponent activates a monster effect as Chain Link 2 or higher, you can quick effect, make that effect become your opponent places a Centurion monster from their face-up field or graveyard into their spell trap zone. And you can't activate Simela for the rest of the turn. If she's a continuous trap, you can special summon her. Again, this is cute, but Konami. There are going to be times when I only have Synchro monsters on my board that are Centurions. So I can't get those guys back. You must print a spell that says special summon any Centurion that is in your back row. You don't need to worry about me double summoning Primera because all of your cards that have effects say you can only special summon them once per turn.
Is there no cards that just actually have effects when they're in the back row or cards?
Primera
I
does,
thought
but
that'd
most
be
of
like-
them don't.
You feel like they should, or at least have ways to go back to your hand.
I mean, all of the monsters that can normally make themselves continuous traps have an effect to summon themselves. All of your main deck monsters. And Primera actually has an effect while she's a continuous trap to protect your Synchro monsters. It's just that your Synchro monsters don't do anything in your back row, which means they're dead weight if they go there. But because this deck is a Synchro deck that collapses all their cards down, it's possible you're only going to have Synchros on board, so you can't get them out. And they don't do anything back there. So it's weird. But honestly, as an effect of just like, as a Chain Link 2 or higher, you can make make a monster effect. You get to place one, and it does the graveyard, so it's good. Primera Primus, the level 8 Synchro here, which is a Synchro tuner, which is funny. 26/26. This is a good card. If this card's Synchro summoned, you can add an Emblema card from your deck to your hand. Then you can destroy one card you control, one card your opponent controls. So it is a on summon. So usually during your opponent's turn, Scrap Dragon, which is good because I already was mentioned. Remember I mentioned earlier you need spot removal. I'm literally running Scrap Dragon in my Centurion deck because I need a fucking way to get rid of cards. Also, fun fact. You may think, oh, isn't that a minus? No, not if you do it right. You have cards to protect your monsters or back row. I think that's Primera's continuous trap effect is your face-up continuous trap can't be destroyed. So, because they're simultaneous, you don't have to destroy your card if they're protected. This special summon card can't be destroyed by battle unless it was summoned from the extra deck. If a face-up Centurion card you control leaves the field by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. So it's just like a really interesting like way to get recursion. It's a synchro tuner, which does actually give you some like interesting ways to play with other cards that you couldn't do before. I still think it's not perfect, but it's better. Velmonica got a counter trap. Or getting a counter trap, I should say, because Rage of the Abyss isn't out. You can only use one of the effects per turn only once that turn. Its first effect is very simple. It's an Omni. When your opponent activates a spell, trap, or monster effect while you control Velmonica Link, they gain destroy. Banish this card from your graveyard, shuffle Velmonica cards from your graveyard, banishment, or face up extra deck to the deck to up to the number of resonance counters on your field, except then this card, draw one card for every 3 cards shuffled. So, cute. It doesn't fix some of the problems with the deck, but also I think the deck may have a few less problems than we thought, at least for casual play. I know when this got added to Master Duel MBT and a couple different people built it and actually had some fun, so I think even with some of its resources being a little fair, the deck still does stuff. Like, it's still very functional, so this probably has some merit to just reloading your deck. Lets you kind of reset things, reshuffle. Let me also search for those Memento cards. That's right. This guy is fucking weird.
What card do we dig up from the grave this time?
Oh, it's a good one for that. This is Memento. It should be a Cactus, but it was Memento Akiron.
What is the base version of this card? Because
I'm gonna pull it up.
The original.
Yeah.
Walk, you good?
It's so weird. I wouldn't.
I
even
don't
see
like
it.
this guy.
You're very close to your mic all of a sudden.
Oh, I was? My bad.
I think
so...
he just was breathing deep. So this is
It's so okay.
Akihiron, which I think literally means cactus because guess what? This is another guy who was such a shitty vanilla. He's never been printed in English. And I don't know if I can get a full art of him.
I mean,
he's also not even in Master Duel, I don't think.
There are so many vanillas like that are from like the first year and a half of the game. That TCGs went. Man, we don't have to waste time with that one.
To get his full art here, but this is Akihiron. He looks normally like this. So, this is a Water Aqua level 5 was Akihiron. This strange creature hides in the deep, dark corners of the 7 seas.
All right. It's good to know.
It's got like a glow up, and it's now become like an aerial thing. It's got a bunch of armor now.
I mean, it's got bones. That's what we do when we're Mementoing.
It's
What's
still
the
metallic
bone?
looking bones.
He has a bone for his nose. His nose bone. And he's got gems. He's also kind
I
of
don't like
orangey.
this.
Yeah,
He's got
he's
amber foot. He's got amber
Despite
claws.
being a cactus, I don't know why the fuck he's a cactus, but he's still a Water Aqua level 5. He's 1700, 1400. The Memento version says if this card's normal or special, you can activate this effect. Level 9 or higher Memento monsters can attack directly this turn. If this card's destroyed by a card effect, target one other Memento in your graveyard or banishment. Put it back in your hand. If a Memento monster in your hand or face-up field is destroyed by battle or card effect while this card's in your graveyard, special summon this card. You can only use each effect once per turn. So yeah, just making that resource loop fucking tighter. Like, just more shit.
I pulled up this card's trivia. It's apparently in Big Wave, Small Wave, but good luck finding it.
Yes. Also, we have an official translation for what was just called Memento Sleepy because it was sheepy. It's Memento Sleepy.
You know what? I'm down with that.
Yeah, we're down to clown with Memento Sleepy. But yeah,
Just
so,
a sleepy little guy.
So yeah,
Sleepy. I regret that.
that was the big one they added is going to be Akihiron. So yeah, no, that's like another just inclusion in the engine. Like honestly, I don't think Memento needed the help, but giving them more, all of their effects as we've discussed are once per turn. Giving them a new name to have a new once per turn effect to just be summoning guys or adding guys back, perfectly fine. You know,
What's the name of that one vanilla monster the JP side really loves? To give them a memento of that guy. Morphenin?
honestly,
Morinfin, yeah.
I think that guy's probably coming because, like, even these cards in Rage of the Abyss, this set's probably been in design for, like, 3 months, 6 months, a year, right? I think the Morphin and Sleeves pull was, like, earlier this year. So it's probably a little too early for them to remember just how much JP thinks Morphinen is a meme. That guy absolutely should become a Memento, though. Like, he fits so perfectly.
Or, hear me out. Memento shape snatch. Fucked up the word, but yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say that Konami wouldn't do that because I feel like there have been times where Rata has explicitly said things as a joke and they happened. Like, I don't know. I think just as a like in terms of comedic timing, I just think that Rata has a good grasp of like it's been like 4 years since Konami thought about these cards. Somebody probably is going to think about them soon when he makes these jokes, but like I feel like that would be an explicit acknowledgement of Rank 10 Yu-Gi-Oh! Rata's memes if it was the one who I'm the one whose shape was snatched. If you're not careful, I'm going to hit you with my rods. Here's what we do. We ban all the tuners. Which the new version of that meme is, here's what we do. We ban all the archetype lock cards. Because we're, banning cards that are not Sanctifier. Though, to be fair, we're not banning Sanctifier because I don't think branded decks are actually doing anything. But they could be doing something, which is annoying. But yeah, so everybody in Valiant Smashers is still getting support. We've gotten a little bit of previewing in Crossover Breakers. Good.
What about Memento Snape Snatch even do effect-wise?
Oh, I don't know. Whatever they need. So, we do know what most of the Ryziel cards do, but they're not released yet, so we won't talk about that article. But the spoiler is Ryziel is the most rank 4 deck to ever rank 4. Literally, it only locks you to rank 4 Xyz monsters from your extra. But they are funny because they are Fire Thunders and Light Pyros, which is cute. We have no further information on the other types as of yet, so we'll keep tracking on that one. But yeah, this is actually the time to go. And I'm getting a little stomach rumbly, so I could use a snack. So we'll get out of here before fast. But we've reached the end of the deck build packs for Failed Portrayal. So I'm not sure what we're gonna do next week in this time slot. Like I said, there's several structure decks that have archetypes, including this would eventually cover Blue Eyes, which I'm sure many of you would be eager to see, even though that episode would take forever.
We die.
We've done Dark Magician and we've done Red Eyes, so like we got to do Blue Eyes at some point.
I guess.
Yeah, just for the sake of comprehension.
Can we do like chunks of them, but just like 5 at once sometimes because they're just kind of like whatever?
No, I don't think we should. I appreciate the effort, but that would probably be too disconnected. We'd forget what the fuck we said already about other shit if we did them loosey goosey. But like, we actually. For the sake of argument, let me grab Structure Deck and like look at the list of them ever. So let's see. The TC we got like let's see, Felgren Dragon. I've already done Monarchs. Zombie World. Spellcaster's Command, so that's like Endymion, which we haven't done yet, I don't think. Chat? Let's see, Warrior Strike was still generic. We did Machina. We've done Dragoonity.
Have we done
That was a
Psychic
structure
Soup
deck.
yet?
Have you done what?
Psychic Soup.
No, that's not a deck. Even in the 5Ds era, I don't think we talked about that. Let's see. Lost Sanctuary was Agents, I believe. Haven't done that. Gates of the Underworld is Dark World. We've done Dark World, I think. We've done Samurai. Haven't done. That would let us do Atlanteans. Though actually, I don't remember if we did Mermills as well. But that was a free sub. I don't know if we did. Fire Kings is a structure deck as well.
Fire Kings, baby.
We could talk about Fire Kings, and I don't think we've done that. Blue Eyes, obviously. Cyber Dragon would also eventually get done in that regard. Did we do? Yeah, we did Lightsworn. That was a solo mode.
Question: if we do Cyber Dragons, everybody else do Cyber Darks as well?
I mean, eventually they
You
did
get
do a
follow-up?
Cyber Dark structure deck, so yes, I think we just do that all at once. We have done the
Okay.
Hero one. Synchron Extreme? Well, I mean, be an excuse to talk about Synchron. Master of Pendulum. That's okay. That
We've
was
done Synchron,
5
have we?
days. No, we haven't done Synchron. There was
Oh.
Monarch 2. Rise of the True Dragons is Felgrand 2. So we did all the Atlanteans when we did Mermail? Okay. So, like... I think we did DD. Yeah, we did DDs and D/Ds and DDDs. Let's see. Machine Reactor is Ancient Gears. We did do that already. Haven't actually done Dino Smashers Fury, but that we talked about most of the Dino stuff. Don't need to talk about Cyber Slink. Wave
I think
of
we'll
Light.
workshop what we do next week.
Lair of
Well, we can figure
Darkness.
it out.
Yeah, I'm just pitching stuff. I think the structure deck idea might be good, and we don't have to do them back to back to back, you know? But there are a
Yeah.
couple archetypes we've never talked about that would get in there. Obviously, that would give us an excuse to talk about Salad, for instance, which I don't think we've ever done. Salad and Great was a
Actually, wait, I
structure
just
deck.
remembered something.
Yeah.
Have we ever done the true Red Eye support Chemical Critters?
Yes, we did a Chemical Redis, but I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
sorry.
sounds
Did we do
familiar.
Fire Kings? Oh, we did Mermails. Okay.
I remember I think we talked about some Fire King before, but I don't remember going through all of them because.
What about Fire Fist?
We did definitely
Not
talk about
Fire
Fire
King.
Fist because I'm thinking Fire King could have been a poll option, but I'm pretty sure Fire King wasn't a solo mode yet.
I remember like
Mart's in chat, so he'll double check us. We have
Like,
checked
I
out
remember-
channels.
we haven't done most of the brain targets, have we?
No, and that actually, the structure deck would give us a reason to talk about that because I think there was a Code Talker structure deck, there was definitely a Salamangreat structure deck, there is a Rocket structure deck.
I
so,
know
like,
we haven't we did. Why am I forgetting their names? Trickstar? I think we did Trickstar.
yeah, we did. That was a poll winner.
Okay.
Let's see, Cyber Strike, Sacred Beasts we
What
haven't
were the-
done. Albaz Strike we've already
What were the
done.
actual like mermaid?
Albaz,
What were like
Crystal
mermaid
Beasts.
ones? I'm forgetting the name of the mermaid. Like
Marincess?
Marincess. Have we done Marincess?
No. Why would we have done
Oh.
Marincess?
Uh,
Yeah, we did Fire Fist, not Fire
we've been
King.
doing this for like 3+ years.
Yes, but remember, X, we had a logic to it. We started this by just doing decks we liked, but that wasn't organized enough, even though we still definitely have some decks we did not scratch off that list. So I transitioned to doing it as, like, because it was a shitload of archetypes, many of which were terrible. We did all of the dual terminal storyline. We did all of the World Key storyline. We did all of the Albaz storyline. Then we started doing solo modes. We ran out of solo modes because they didn't do them enough. Though they did just... Oh, actually, no, it was Fabled. The Fabled solo mode's pretty good, by the way. But we ran out of solo modes. So I decided to do deck build packs because those are kind of funny and weird. And now we're out of those. Yeah, 72 was Mermail Atlantean. So we could obviously start doing some of our... whatchamacallit? Like cubes and stuff. Get some of those DDM duels as well. But if we want to intersperse that with stuff, I think starting to pick and choose some interesting archetype stuff from structure decks might work well.
I think we could do a thing if the middle and the end of the month we do Veil Betrayal, then maybe like the other weeks we do something else.
That's fair. So next week we would need to do something. But that would be an excuse to talk about, because there would be a new topic poll, obviously. Because that's a good way to just pick out random decks. So we could start on like structure deck themed stuff. Let me actually grab the list again and see what would be our first one. I mean, technically, I think we could talk about Zombie World because that's like is actually a thing. Like
yeah,
Balderrock,
and all that
Zombie,
shit.
Necrobanshee.
There's quite a few like there's at least like 12 cards.
It would be either Zombie World, or if we don't think that's pure enough, it would be Endymion.
Unizombie. I think it'd just be like the core Zombie World.
But
little cards.
I don't think we've
We
actually
could probably
sat down
save
to
this
do them.
discussion for off.
Fair.
Podcast.
Well, I mean, we can save it for off stream, but I would like chat to give feedback as well. I don't know what you're in a hurry for, Mr. Loth. Mezuki Gozuki? Yeah, I don't think we talked about like the yokai cards.
We would never talk.
No, we're not doing starter decks. Well, we do anime
stop
decks,
that.
but we don't. Here, you
Starter
know what we
decks
talking
are
about? You're the
recent.
Magic Swordsman. I'll kill that forever right now.
Starter decks are
Fine.
just nothing to talk about.
Shit, he's not in Master Duel.
He's not even in the back. He's not even in like in the pity packs.
Or if he is, he's in so many results that I can't find him. Let me see if I can find the full art through. No, Duel Links is not the. Let me try manually. Like, no, don't. What are you
that
doing?
was such
Google?
a shift from "fuck you, I'll talk about Enzu." Oh no, there's nothing.
I think it's formatted correctly. Okay, there he is. The feedback. He's so obscure, the search results won't give him to me. But it's Neo the Magic Swordsman. He's a Magic Swordsman. It's really easy. What's his OCG name?
Oh, this fucker.
Maho Kenshi Neo. He's literally Neo the Magic Swordsman. He's a light spellcaster, level 4 normal with 1700 attack. He was okay in the starter deck Yugi versus Kaiba sealed. There you go.
Looks like a guy from.
100 bungus.
He looks like a guy from Record of Lodos.
Probably what they were drawing from. But yeah, so if we want to, I'm okay with Axe's suggestion to like block out maybe the first Tuesday of a month and the last for the Patreon episode to like keep doing some fail portrayal. So we could start with Zombie World next time.
I was thinking
like,
we want to
start
avoid
making
it where
sure to
it's like
plan.
because if it's the first and the last, we just definitely it's a back-to-back two kind of thing. But
Yeah, it's kind of blocked up. That's okay because that like I said, that will give an excuse to lead into the new Patreon poll, which obviously isn't up yet because it's not the new month. So we'll have to sort that out. But yeah, and then we can figure out like give us some time to think about like which cube we want to do if we want to start.
or
doing
if
some
we
of
do
the
it DDM
modules.
because I don't know reinstall that because they updated it again.
Yeah, get that shit going for that client. Decide who takes what decks. You know, because there's different matchups.
No, you gotta play montage format.
Do we have
The
to play
montage format looks atrocious.
It's also unfinished, but maybe it's updated by now.
We'll save it then. That episode was fucking hilarious, but also actually playing montage format is fucking.
It looked fun in a stupid way.
Anyway, we are at the point where we can get on out of here, so we will discuss off mic ourselves. Oh, I gotta link Marth. Somebody in the fail portrayal chat because Marth can get in there. Somebody link him that DDM episode. It was Gage and MBT. The format's all about Montage Dragon. But like I think there's some room for some matchups. Like I actually probably be a decent match for the Zexel one, or not, and you know. Because I think it's only 1v1 at the moment. We'd probably have a peanut gallery, but you know what I mean. But the GX one, the Duel Academy, this looked real fun. Oops, all
We'll have
paleo
to,
format's very funny.
I think we'll have to draw straws or something. Determine who does what at some
We
point.
can
We'll
we
see.
can figure it out. I probably have to be in it to
least
capture
camera.
one side of it because I don't know if we can have normal spectators. So we'll see. We'll do some testing. And like I said, we've got ideas for cubes as well we can dig up. We've talked about what to do when we run at a fail portrayal, but we haven't had time to discuss everything.
I will at least send you if I'm part of it. I'll at least send you screenshots of my parts for any funny bits that happen.
Sure. I mean, we may be. I don't know. We might be like deafened and muted up, but we'll probably be streaming it to talk about it. Anyway, Loth is correct though. We do not want to be here forever. It's almost 3 hours of stream. If you caught us late, make sure to go back and check out stuff. We talk about Mimighoul as well as talking about obviously Galaxy Photon Tachyon stuff. There will be a new poll next month for more fail portrayal to keep some stuff tacking out. We'll figure out exactly what we're doing next week based on these guys' preference and sort some stuff. We'll catch up. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Check out Monday's stream of Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Yak! check out tomorrow's stream, which will be more Final Fantasy XIV. There was a new patch. Allegedly, they've ruined Viper forever. No, they just kind of make it less interesting. They changed the debuff to you get a buff now.
And they made it where you can't end stack, so it's like I don't know if Raptor combo does. I don't know how it works. I didn't have practice.
I mean, I think the end result is you do the exact same amount of damage. It's just that enemies don't get 9 million stacks of Noxious Gash. I suspect this is people's own fault for doing nothing but playing Picto and Viper. So there were
try to avoid clutter.
8 million instances of Noxious Gash on all the enemies in Alliance raids. Anyway, we're going to get on out of here. Please tune into all that stuff. Check it out. We'll see you guys next time.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks, bye.
Take care.
If you like Yu-Gi-Oh!, make sure to check out last week's GAC stream. I played Master Duel for an hour because Lucky was asleep. Bye.
Or Lucky.